are still going in here for the final battle. Hafiz! But he doesn't get taken down. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Haji goes in here for the wipe. Divinity still standing up. Guns are on the knock right now. Husky Pandemonium!
Geek Fam on a roll. They might just get this views is already out. Divinity not gonna survive. Batman is still there. Geek Fam with 2 men left. Right fast to MY Blacklist International about to get eliminated as Geek Fam continues to survive. The Kings have returned. And Geek Fam nails their first booyah of the grand.
It's time to watch the MCP Major Season 2. Let's go!
That's 2 down for AB Tigers, and their aggression has not really paid off. As now they will get Focus gets down. As Arpa good for shots, they're gonna try and gun. Oh wow! Chase out both. Geek Fam continues to survive. The Kings have returned.
Sign up now for the MCP Majors in-game qualifier.
Triple kill. Shut down. Latte kill. Latte kill.
Three days to go.
3 days to go.
3 days to go.
3 days to go!
3 days to go.
There is 3 more days.
Armato Tindin, are you ready?
¿Estás listo?
Adakah anda sudah bersedia?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
你准备好了吗？
هل أنتم جاهزون يا أساطير لعيد ميلاد فري فاير الرابع؟
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Tune up for the party!
Let's turn up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
3 days to go.
Are you ready?
喂哪里妹
Absolutely bombed and taken up by MS-25. That's 2 down for AB Tigers, and their aggression has not really paid off, as now they will get overwhelmed. by the members of Freedom Rumble. Your boy was going to be the third one on chopping block. Comstars get down as Arpam will take Red Panda down. Your boy was the last man alive, and it seems like Freedom Rumble will be forfeited for sure. Shaw's trying to help out, but this is going to run into 3 different crosses.
Run,
that
my
is
boy.
not good for Shaw. They're going to try and gun them down. In fact, they will. Shaw's a down, MS25 picks them up, and now MS25 pushes on forward XL with the third one, and shots will be eliminated. Catch up to Geek Fam. Can they do it? They got one down. Calls at the window. They're rushing in. They're gonna take out Comp. Dress goes for a rotation, but he takes himself out. Comp down. This is it. AKO. Not gonna make it. That is international. They haven't seen it yet, but now they do. Mr. D trying to survive this one versus 2. Turns the rock.
Oh, wow!
Takes out both. The all barrel explosion.
As well as Hazik, but we've seen this duo move in, and Easy gets eliminated, and Balore goes in for the Black Cobra, and it looks like the Blacklist International are gonna be on a handicap as well. But Divinity, look at them, trapped all there in that hut, all alone. They have got their friends in there for the support, and even Geek Fam can't take them out just yet. White face, knocked down by the play zone, but they are still going in here for the final battle. Hafiz! But he doesn't get taken down. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Haji goes in here for the wipe. Divinity still standing up. Guns are on the knock right now. Husky Pandemonium!
Geek Fam on a roll. They might just get this. His views is already out. Divinity not gonna survive. Batman is still there. Geek Fam with 2 men left. The right fast group. MY Blacklist International about to get eliminated as Geek Fam continues to survive. The Kings and Geek Fam nails their first booyah of the grand.
Time to watch the MCP Major Season 2.
Let's go.
That's 2 down for AB Tigers, and their aggression has not really paid off. As now they will get Comstars get down. As Arpa good for shots, they're gonna try and gun them. This is it! AKO! Not gonna make it!
Oh, wow!
Chase out both! Geek Fam continues to survive. The Kings have returned.
Sign up now for the MCP Majors in-game qualifier.
Triple kill. Shut down. Quadruple kill. Quadruple kill.
Three days to go.
3 days to go.
3 days to go.
3 days to go.
3 days to go.
There is 3 more days.
Armato Tindin, are you ready?
¿Estás listo?
Adakah anda sudah bersedia?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
你准备好了吗？
هل أنتم جاهزون يا أساطير لعيد ميلاد فري فاير الرابع؟
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
3 days to go.
Are you ready?
Quay nào em ơi. Booyah!
absolutely bombed and taken out by MS-25. That's 2 down for AB Sligers, and their aggression has not really paid off, as now they will get overwhelmed by the members of Freedom Rumble. Your boy was going to be the third one on chopping block. Cops get down as Arpav will take Red Panda down. Your boy was the last man alive, and it seems like Freedom Rumble will be forfeited for sure. Shaw's trying to help out, but this is going to run into 3 different crosses.
Run, my
That is
boy.
not good for Shaw. They're going to try and gun them down. In fact, they will. Shaw's are down. MS-25 picks
XO.
and now MS-25 pushes on forward. XO with the third one. And Shot will be eliminated. Catch up to Geek Fam. Can they do it? They got one down. Cause at the window. They're rushing in. They're gonna take out Cobb. Dress goes for a rotation, but he takes himself out. Cobb's down. This is it. AKO. Not gonna make it. They haven't seen him yet, but now they do. Mr. D trying to survive this one versus 2. Turns the rock.
Oh, wow!
Takes out both. The all-barrel explosion.
As well as Hazik, but we've seen this duo move in, and Dooeasy gets eliminated, and Balore goes in for the Black Cobra, and it looks like the Blacklist International are gonna be on a handicap as well. But Divinity, look at them, trapped all there in that hut, all alone. They have got their friends in there for the support, and even Geek Fam can't take them out just yet. White Face knocked down by the play zone, but they are still going in here for the final battle. Hafiz! But he doesn't get taken down. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Hazik goes in here for the wipe. Divinity still standing up. Guns are on the knock right now. Husky Pandemonium!
Geek Fam on a roll. They might just get this. Views is already out. Divinity not gonna survive. Batman is still there. Geek Fam with 2 men left. The right fast group. MY Blacklist International about to get eliminated as Geek Fam continues to survive. The Kings have returned. And Geek Fam nails.
Hello everybody and welcome to the MCP Majors Season 2. That is right, we are finally at the starting line for Season 2 of the MCP Majors. My name is Danielle, I'm going to be your host, and of course joining me will be the wonderful, the handsome Hauler.
Thank you very much, and happy birthday Free Fire. They officially hit 4 years old. Congratulations. That's a big monumental event for a game at this caliber. I mean, I'm just happy to be here. I know that you were part of Season 1, and we do have a lot of those teams that are carried over, so I'm really looking forward to this league.
I know a lot of people are super excited because I'm very sure a lot of people in the chat right now, they tuned into the launch party. We were all there. We saw the KL Tower light up with Free Fire. It was fantastic. And honestly, I didn't think this day would finally come, but here we are. We've also got all of our teams already trying to get into the lobby, which is, of course, the whole point of this, right? We need to see the best teams in the region going head-to-head for those points, and of course, going off to the playoffs. Now, I do know we are going to be jumping into the prize pool in just a moment, but people that aren't quite aware, we have 2 stages to the MCP Majors. So we have the group stage where all the teams will be lumped into groups together, and they'll be competing with the groups for points. Depending on your placement points for all the matches, you'll be placed towards the top half of the bracket or the lower half of the bracket. If you manage to make it to the top half of the bracket, you'll be playing in the playoffs for even more money. So even if you don't make it to the second stage, everybody gets a little bit of something.
I mean, you get something, but you definitely want to be in the top 12 because you want to be in the grand finals. You want to make it for that playoff day. Make sure that you're in the money because that's pretty much where all the money is, right? All of the hard work that you put in, yes, you got into the league and that's great to do, but the thing is that you got to survive 12 match days. This is going to be a gauntlet with 18 teams. You said it best in the sense that we have, you know, the best teams from Malaysia, Cambodia, and the Philippines right here, but 18 teams. I mean, it's kind of a game of roulette in the sense of you just might have to get lucky.
Yeah, you can even say it's kind of like a Game of Thrones, right? It's do or die. It's essentially just your team that's going to have your back. Everyone else is out there to kill you. Everyone wants to knock you out because who wants to be king? Only one team can be king of the region. But I'm super excited. For people that are just tuning in as well, we are going to be running 2 maps today. And then, of course, tomorrow we're going to be shifting it up a little bit. 1 map will be rotated out and we're going to rotate a different map in. We'll be revealing the maps in just a moment. But, of course, Holo, did you want to take over for prize pool distribution?
Yeah. So, I mean, as we talked about the league stage, this is, I mean, yeah, you're getting a little bit of money. First place, 2,000. Second, 1,800. third, 16 fourth, and so on and so on. And yes, technically at 18th place, you're going to get some money for coming in. But the thing is that you go home. And that's the worst part. You want to be in the top 12, make sure that you're into the grand finals and then have a chance for that last battle royale, so to speak, that last day where you're going to get most of the money, considering the prize pool is about 50,000 USD. Let me repeat that. 50,000 USD. Make sure you're in that money. Yes, you might just be able to save strats. Maybe you're not as aggressive in the league stage, but you got to be aggressive enough just to get into the top 12.
Yeah, and it's scary as well because firstly, I think some of these teams are not going to be familiar with some of the new teams coming in, right? They're not going to be 100% sure on how the teams play, what their general pathing is going to be in the matches as well. Who's aggressive and who's passive? I feel like that's also a very big factor when it comes to seeing how the new teams play. Because generally speaking, we've seen a lot of the aggressive teams being rewarded because of that aggression, because some of the longer running teams, they want to sit back and get to know everybody, but at this point of time, points are very, very important because as you can see on the screen right now, we have the prize pool distribution for the playoffs, the final stage, essentially what everyone is working towards. And as you can see at the very top, first place, you're getting $15,000. That's a lot of money, and especially in this region.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky to get it. You got to get it, and you got to fight for it, right? And then you talked about the fact that maybe the teams are, there's some newer teams you don't want to be as aggressive. But I'd say nothing says hello like being in your face and just going at them, right? I think that's the biggest thing. Is that you got to get the kills. You got to get the booyah. Yes, survival is definitely one of those things. But, I mean, maybe somebody, a couple of your teammates get picked off, then you can play a little bit more passively. But I think in the beginning, you're going to make a statement by saying, hey, watch out for this team. Look at me go. I'm going to go guns blazing. I'm going to just destroy your team.
Now, let's take a look at the point systems for how we're going to be moving forward in the tournament format as well. So as you can see, the team that places first and gets the booyah, they'll be getting a whopping 12 points, followed by 9, 8, 7, 6 as you go down in terms of placements. Now, unfortunately, if you place 11th or 12th in your matches, you are going to get absolutely nothing for placement points, but we still have kill points. So each kill that you get in your matches, you're going to be able to secure 1 point. So aggressive teams are going to be heavily favoring the kill points because if you can get 12 kills, you've essentially secured yourself a booyah.
Yeah, and that's great to have. I mean, there's going to be, 12 teams in each of the matches that we're going to see today, right? So potentially you can get 44 kills. Assuming that you don't kill your own teammates and all that. So,
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone get 40 kills. But
you never know. You never know. But I mean, getting placement is very important, but the kills, it pays to be aggressive and make sure you have that. We're going to look at the schedule for today. We're going to only see Bermuda and Kalahari, or as like some of my friends will call it, calamari. But in this case, we're just going to see these two maps for today.
Yes, interesting friends. So personally, I love seeing these two maps because you get contrasting styles of Free Fire. So Bermuda is such a fast-paced map. Everyone knows this map. Everyone's comfortable on this map. And secondly, it's a lot smaller than Kalahari. So teams are going to be moving very fast, and we're likely going to see a lot of aggression even from the very early stages of Bermuda. Now, when it comes to Kalahari, huge map. So teams have to not only travel massive distances to even find each other, but you also need to consider the fact that you need to worry about a lot of the vertical slopes in Kalahari because there's a lot of high ground vision, it's so easy just to get picked off by a team that is essentially just in a better position than you. So teams are very careful in Kalahari, whereas everyone just goes YOLO in Bermuda. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how everyone changes their playstyle moving from these two maps.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we're starting off with a banger in the sense of Bermuda, right? Nothing says Free Fire like Bermuda in the sense that just being super aggressive. But here are the qualified teams. I mean, if we're looking at all of the teams that have been, it's 18 teams. There have 6 teams in each group, right? Each of the groups have at least 2 members of Season 1 going into it, right? So we see Do Easy. They were in 12th place in the Season 1. Bloodyhead, 17th. They've been in the same groups, not only in this in this league, but they were also in the qualifiers together. They were in Group C. So these two teams know each other quite well. Group B, we're looking at Freedom Rumble and Supreme Assault Force. They know each other. They were 4th and 5th place in the last season. Group C, Blacklist International. They're probably the top team going into this one. People are going to be aware of this team going in. Fast Kill and Woos. just heavy hitters in every single group.
Yeah, and I also can't count out Almighty as well. I think a lot of the Filipino fans, they're going to be very familiar with the names on Almighty. If you don't know the team name, if I say Batman, I think that might be enough to sort of trigger a little bit of a memory for anyone from the Philippines. Yes? Of course. Of course.
Yeah,
Everyone
of
knows
course, of
Almighty.
course. Everybody knows them, and they're gonna, especially you can't forget a name like Batman unless you're like a Marvel guy. I think that you're gonna remember Batman at the end of the day. You're gonna understand that this guy's gonna go for kills. He's gonna be aggressive, and he's gonna be in your face.
Yeah, so I'm just taking a look at these groups really quickly, and man, if I'm gonna say there might be a group of death, I'm thinking it could be C. But then again, I have been proven wrong in the past. Of course, we are going to be showing all of you teams to watch for anyone that is new to the league. Some names you do want to keep an eye out for is Blacklist International, super familiar names, very strong team from Malaysia. Then we have Supreme Assault Forces as well, fantastic team. I love SAF because they are so aggressive from the get-go. So keep an eye out on SAF. And then, of course, Freedom Rumble. This is a team that tends to change up their playstyle every now and again. They have slower games, they do have faster games, but their late game is incredibly scary. I love watching them going into those final couple of circles because, again, a very intelligent team.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you can change the playstyle on the go, right? Like that's the biggest thing. That will change you from a, like that'll put you in the running, so to speak, in terms of top teams. Because other teams are like, oh, I know that this team tends to be very passive, they tend to loot a lot, and they don't want to take firefights. But if you're constantly changing your strategy from game to game, and we're going to see a ton of matches today, so just seeing able to see a team change up and adjust is going to be very, very interesting to see.
Yeah, and I think that's also a trait that a lot of teams want to be running because you don't want to stay stagnant in terms of playstyle. You don't want everyone to just think, okay, we know how this team plays halfway through the season because that's the only style that they play. So if anything, that was something that I really liked about Freedom Rumble last time. So we'll see if it's going to end up being the same style this season because, of course, this is I want to call it the introductory week where everyone gets a feel of the groups. What are we going to be expecting from these teams moving forward?
I think we're going to see some craziness, right? I think from minute one, the drop off, because what happens is that when you play with a lot of teams and you get familiar with them, you tend to have the same drop off points, right? And so if people are going to go into the hot spots, make sure they try to get all the loot, you're going to see a lot of firefights early, right? But if we don't know if the teams are going to want to do that. So maybe later on, you're going to see the spread, and naturally throughout the league, you'll see the teams will naturally gravitate toward certain parts of the map. So it's going to be very interesting. Day one is the biggest one, right? In terms of, hey, this is my territory. Make sure that if you want to drop here, you're going to have a firefight, and you're going to, we're going to go aggressive from minute one.
Now, from what we are told from our production team right now, so the teams are quickly trying to jump into the lobby, but before then we do want to remind you that we have some wonderful giveaways for all of our lovely viewers tuning in. Thank you for coming. Of course, we've got 2 gun boxes to give away, but okay, we are not giving you the code right now. Just continue watching the stream because we will be announcing the code later on. Now, the special thing with the code this season is that the code is valid for everybody that watches the stream. So as long as you're tuning into the stream, you can redeem the code and get the prizes inside. There is a catch. You cannot get these boxes after the stream. So the moment the stream closes for the day, the code is gone. So we are warning you right now, if you want to claim the boxes for all of the streams, make sure you're tuning in, you're here for the code, and you claim it when the stream is live.
All right, and for the record, it's not a first come, first serve. I know some people type those codes very slowly, but everybody has the opportunity. As long as you're watching the stream, you're able to do that. So feel free to tune in. Make sure that you take a screenshot or a photo or whatever it is to kind of help you out. But everybody can get one of those things. Even myself, I'm going to be redeeming it myself. Danily, I know you will as well.
Yes.
But let us introduce the casters, as they're going to be taking you through all of the matches today. Mustachio and Beef Mommy, let's take it away.
So much Holler as well as Danny. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you now have the Beef Mustachio combo on Free Fire as well. Let's rock it, Beef.
Speaking of rocking it, wow, it's such an amazing day and an amazing intro for our lovely host. It's the first time we actually had two amazing hosts, and I'm really glad to see you here in day one. Not only that, we are starting day one of our amazing qualifiers, and the Group A and Group B matchup is going to be lit.
I'm looking forward to it, right? Because Holler pointed out something really interesting, which we have to keep an eye on, which are the teams who are going to be going in there and adapting to each other and switching it up round after round. Because like what Danny said, today is the day where everybody gets a feel for each other. Of course, before we kind of mix it up again halfway through, because that's how Free Fire works, right? You've got your group stages, you've got 3 groups, and halfway through, they just kick you in the nuts and they regroup you. And usually you would think, how does that even affect the competition in any way whatsoever? Because even though you've got those 3 groups, they do end up facing each other. But, just being put into the exact same grouping as, your kryptonite sometimes can make the biggest of differences in these matches, Beef.
Well, if you are going to be facing your kryptonite head on, best believe that might even make you grow as a team. Because if you're going to be going up against, weaker teams like what we saw before, you're not going to be having that competition that you want, and that growth will be needed. And for all of these teams that are playing right now, we keep saying balance is key. You need to get enough of those kill points, but at the same time, place high enough. You don't even need to get a booyah.
Let's face it, Garena is super stingy. They don't want to give out a lot of placement points, and I understand it. It just picks the pace of those games up. You don't have a lot of teams going in campy. They know the importance of the kill points, and if you get eliminated early on, you might as well... Okay, I don't want to get too negative early on, yeah? You really need to start hustling from game number 2 onwards, right? Each and every single squad here, they've got 4 opportunities within the day of the group stages. And as we open things up at Bermuda, it is going to be quite crazy. I expect it to be slow pace, but it will not last like that throughout the whole day, Beef.
Yeah, absolutely. And like what they said a while ago, Denali was like, you know what? Bermuda is going to be that fast-paced map just because of how smaller it is. She has a point. There's a reason why all of these teams really love Bermuda. It's because it is a classic map. Everyone knows where to actually place themselves. And so I'm excited to see which teams comes on top, because match number 1, that is going to be that fire. This is what the tone needs to be set on.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is game number 1. The flight path is going to be cutting through Mars Electric all the way down towards Observatory. And we can already see a team picking up Sentosa. 2 of them now going in. Bloody Heads, the team that has most definitely rocked Season 1, impressed us, stole our hearts, but they couldn't really cut it in terms of climbing up the leaderboards. Let's see whether or not Season 2 will treat them a little bit more nicely, Beef.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, we're going to be seeing that amazing drop that we're seeing here in Mars Electric. And it's going to be really nice that they actually go and get here. They're the only team that can go in there for the kill. But then Clock Tower, there's going to be a lot of gunfire already ensuing here in the strip, AJ.
No, absolutely. Let's see exactly how all of these battles are going to be breaking down. We have got UMB here, and right beside them will be the side of AKO. Now, we're not expecting to see a lot of those deaths, but it seems like Enigmax will not be able to survive for much longer. Do Easy steps in. 2 of their members have been taken out. Enigmax All-Star, what is about to happen now? Do Easy! They get attacked right back. Jambal is down.
Oh no, there's going to be 2 players left right now. It's going to be Slumber and Viddu. It's not going to be easy, but then gets 1 kill. Slumber is going to be able to put his teams in. Slumber going to try to get 1 more, but no, doesn't quite get it. Now, AJ, this very aggressive strategy that we're seeing here is going to be really detrimental. It's really up to Vitudos to actually go in there, and he's going to be 1 person left, but he's already engaging when he really shouldn't.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, right? And this is where RNG comes in. This is where some of your decisions come in. Day number 1, you don't really know exactly where all of those teams are going to go landing in. And, dropping back to what Holler mentioned, right? You need to adapt round after round. Now that NXMax understands that, Peak's not really the best area to be dropping into, hopefully they will have a better round later on. And they have to play survival with just 1 man now.
Yeah, absolutely. Enigmax is going to be having a really hard time, as Vito is going to be the only person in his team. He needs to go in there, really be a little bit more passive, just because you're going to be the only person left there. He needs to chill. But then, speaking of, we're going to be taking a look another team here. They're going to be chilling just a bit, just looking for that loot. And it's a good thing that they dropped into Observatory, because they're going to be having that good loot here.
Yeah, absolutely right. Huge area to play around with, and the best part is not many of the other teams are around. Yes, we do have one squad right towards their right, I believe, but that's not going to be too much of an issue right now. Even if they do, come in for the approach towards AKO, they should be able to get that vantage point as Rosso X now is trying to find for himself. Once he gets up, it's all about just locking this area down, waiting to see exactly where the next circle goes towards, and planning their path in. I mean, planning your route in towards the next circle is one of the most trickiest things in the game. You get caught out in the open field, out in the battle, and you are toast. You take a vehicle, yes, you can move a little bit faster. You get your vehicle blown up out in the open, you are toast yet again. It's all going to depend as to how they maneuver themselves in towards that safe zone, Beef.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we keep saying that you need to position yourselves really greatly, especially if the circle is going to be closing in. Then they're going to be just chilling just because the first zone's not going to be in. But then you can see here, a gunfight is going to be ensuing. ITX is going to be going down. 2 people already. That's going to be very hard as Niel's going to be the only one person left.
ITX now, opportunity backs away. Time turner pulled out, but the numbers game will go ahead and catch up with them. Tactical Intex eliminated. They are the first ones to get kicked out. Unfortunate for them, and I don't think they picked any kills up as well, Beef. So that's 0 points from round number 1.
Oh, that was so unfortunate, but then you are going to be going up against PXG Radicals. They are probably one of the most aggressive teams that we've seen here in those 3 regions. PXG Radicals already having a very explosive start. Faller kills already in Tanamo. Without any question, already has that 3 kills. Another person that you're going to be taking a look at is going to be Barba. Those two, they're going to be that tandem that will always get a lot of those kills for their team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, PXG Radicals, they are very, very impressive whenever they drop in with the aggressive plays. But even as aggressive they are, they only managed to pick up the 5th position out at the FFPO. So if you guys are already fascinated with PXG Radicals, wait till you see a little bit of what SAF can do.
Oh yeah, SAF is probably going to be the team that they really want to beat. And PXG, they really want that vengeance. And yes, we already said that they are only that 5th spot, but it doesn't really matter. It is a new dawn. It's a new day. There's still a lot of things to prove here in this competition. And knowing that they're going to be a giant, they're going to be walking against giants as well. So that's going to be pressure for them.
Absolutely, and on top of everything else, they now have to meet the Malaysians as well, who drop in with quite a number of squads. Out of the 18 teams, only 5 of these teams are from the Philippines. The rest are from Malaysia, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So we might be able to see, things go either way. Are we going to see those with the lesser numbers? The Filipinos still rage on up towards the top with the aggressive plays like we have seen them do in the past always? Or will the Malaysians still manage to triumph, right? At the end of the day, it's the game of numbers, and knowing your enemy is really, really important. Getting used to understanding exactly where they pick their drop zone so you can avoid them early in the game, really important. And hopefully the Philippines does not have a too tough of a time trying to figure out the Malaysians' gameplay early on, Beef.
Absolutely. And Holler actually made a really good point a while ago, is that the first match is going to be so important. And speaking of, there's going to be another gunfight ensuing here. It's going to be very hard right now. Azapam is going to be taking a lot of these shots.
Argon MY taking on Freedom Rumble early on. Drax picked right back up. That was a little too quick. Argon MY needs to know exactly how to go in for the finisher, and now it looks like Drax is going to go in for the push. And so far, so good. All we have is eyes on Apam. We need to take a quick peek at the top floor as well. Freedom Rumble going in for the slice. Argon MY, they managed to back away.
Freedom Rumble almost at a pickle, but it's a good thing they were able to pull through. And like we were saying a while ago, I was saying that day 1 is going to be so important, and match number 1 is going to be heck of an important play, just because you're going to be seeing a lot of these teams play how they're going to be using a little bit of the strategy early on, but it's important how you are going to adapt as a team, especially going in there with match number 1, especially that the pressure is going to be going on for all of these teams. So they need to learn, they need to be adaptable, not only have aggressive plays, but have passive ones as well. You need to know when you're going to be engaging.
This squad is my favorite team of all. I'm playing biased here. Bloody Heads, the Mustachio's going to back them up from day 1 all the way to the grand finals. But I mean, in season 1, these guys, they suffered a pretty bad blow. I'm hoping to see, lots and lots and lots of improvement. only when they were down and out, only after they got the infraction points in Season 1, did we actually see Bloody Heads kind of step up, kind of show us anything that they're capable of. And when they were showing us what they were truly capable of, it was way too late. So hopefully it's a little bit different now. They start showing us, those crazy plays early on and maintain it till the end. Freedom Rumble will be the test subjects and to see exactly how Bloody Heads have been doing. Apam bringing the bike right straight. ZJ, they are not going to be able to catch him out, and the bike will be able to move right on away. Cops comes right through with a quick knock, and this is just GTA if they can manage to swipe out Freedom Rumble from this situation and steal their bike as well, but ZJ is the first one to go down.
Oh no, it's going to be up to 3 people on Bloody Heads. It's going to be very hard for them to pull through. But then, just one by one, they're actually going in there for the kill. But no, Morgana and Kryfu is actually going to be going down. Mark is going to be the only person left that can actually go in for that heal. The pickup needs to go in here. Mark is usually that top fragger with a sniper, but he's going to have such a hard time. And he has so many moments left. Morgana is going to be the only person left in her team. That's going to be very hard. Morgana is usually the one that actually clutches up. So they need to go in there. Beautiful nade.
Oh, Morgana still on the ground waiting to get picked up. And if Mark can get out of this sticky situation, maybe he can make a play in here. He needs to be really careful though. Freedom Rumble, all they need is 2 nades, but no. Cobbs doesn't even need that. He busts right through the glue wall, and Bloody Heads, yeah, they got their heads cracked wide open there.
Yeah, that was so hard to see. That was a bloody battle that they just lost, and it was unfortunate because we already know Bloody Head can be aggressive, but it's going to be just too hard. Freedom Rumble is proving to be a little bit of a competition. Morgana is usually that member that can actually pull up a clutch at the very end, and Mark will definitely top frag, but it's not going to matter right now. We can see at the top spot for now, though, we have PXG Radicals already with the aggression. We need to see them go into the final circle, though. We're going to be seeing them. They usually play at the outside of the zone, though, so I'm not going to be surprised if they're going to be gate kept.
I need like magnifying glasses to see all of these little logos.
Same, I can't see. I can
Trying
really
to figure
see.
out exactly, but I mean I can make out some of these logos, but the rest is I'm gonna have a tough time in this competition, Beef.
Yep, and I already have glasses on already, but you know what? Let's take a look at this team. Hopefully we get to see it a little bit more magnified, or else AJ and I should probably invest in a magnifying glass.
Yeah, I'm going to be squinting throughout the whole competition here. XBR Arons, here still trying to catch someone off guard. They have taken the vantage point for themselves. It's very, very easy to look down rather than up, but they have to be careful. Bermuda is just that big that they have to always keep an eye on their backs. Daymoon now, SAF. It is going to be auto knockout, but they do not know who they seem to be tickling. You go in and stir the hornet's nest, you are going to get stung, my boys.
Speaking of getting stung, it's going to be very hard right now just because they're going to be backed up in a corner, and you don't want that to happen with a team like SAF. They play their nades so well and so precisely that they will just get every single one of you. You wouldn't even know what hit it, but it's going to be troublesome for them. They already know that PXG is going to be right around behind them. At the same time, another squad was going to be SAF is right in front of them, so the sandwich might happen.
Most definitely. Now, Bhima sucked this trip right to the back, and auto knockout does not have any option at all to move. And if so, even if this little standoff takes a while, the side of SAF, they are not too concerned at all. They've got the airdrop on their side. They've got a huge compound to play with. Even if auto knockout does come in for the push, SAF can very easily go up to that second floor, third floor, and set up a strong defense, play with their glue walls as well, jump out of the window, and just play ring around the rosy. Auto knockout, on the other hand, will not be able to survive a push. Just like you've mentioned, Beef, they will be able to pop out their glue walls, close all of those space up, and a couple of nades into this compound, auto knockout is going to get knocked out.
Hopefully, no knockout is going to happen, and it's going to be game over. But then it's going to be easy for them just because they're going to be a little bit more passive, which is going to be great. These are the gunfights that you need to just think about. You need to know when to engage, when to go in for the defense, and even when to go away. We've been lacking that here in the first few fights because they always just go in head-on, butting heads. And one team, 2 teams already just being eliminated really, really quickly. So it's really up to PXG right now to just be a little bit more quiet. You can see here, SAF is going to be a very hard team to beat. You can see very closely at the the very bottom right, another team is going to be in here. But, oh, you can see that. The circle is going to be in their favor.
Oh, absolutely. And Forbid seems to be leaving his compound. He wants to come in for the push. Now, they better be careful. PXG's right here behind them. And, you know, touching on a little bit of what you were saying earlier on as well, right, Beef? It's really, really important. That's the main reason why it's really important to pick the right drop spots. Because when you meet teams early on, you don't really have a fight. It's either you kill or be killed. Later on in the game, when you've got enough loot on yourself, it's more of a game of chess, right? We want to see exactly what sort of move our opponents make first, because you don't really know exactly what they're carrying on them. Argon MY getting eliminated in the 10th position. They're not going to be too happy with that at all. And that standoff will go ahead to continue until the safe zone forces them out of the compound.
And this is why you need to really just choose your gunfights. We can see 3 teams already going down. And if you are at that 10th place, you're only getting 1 placement point. And I'm pretty sure they didn't really get a lot of kills. So you need to have that balance. We keep saying that you need to have a lot of kills. And if you are an aggressive team, yes, maybe you can have that. But then in a moment like this where you're basically going up against the best teams in the region, it's going to be so hard for you to pull through. And yes, this is actually kind of like an experimental trial where everyone's going to be seeing everyone. Speaking of, it's going to be very hard right now.
I really thought that he came across, another teammate. It's just his own teammate. My bad. Sorry for exciting you guys. I know I
blame you.
It's okay. It happens, man. It's Free Fire. Do easy. They've got a great compound to keep, and now they're going to flirt with the edge of the safe zone. Not too bad at all. Auto knockout on the approach as well as they try to avoid the zone moving in. Do easy with the bike on them already. The most used vehicle in the game of Free Fire, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Very, very risky play if you ask me. Once again, the vehicle allows you that mobility around the map, but it's so easy to make the vehicle explode as well. And if you get caught out in the open, it's game over, Beef.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get stuck on a wall, if you accidentally just hit something, it's basically going to be game over and the play is going to be bad. But then, speaking of, Taken is going to be in trouble. Needs to go in for the pickup. His teammates need to go and heal themselves before they actually go and heal him. The glue walls do their job at the protection. But then, look at that. Umbrella Reborn is already going to be eliminated. And sadly, we're going to be seeing it in the sidelines.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see, the zone moved on through. Auto knockout was forced to move out of the compound, but a tremendous defense set up by them. They only managed to, sacrifice one guy, and even he didn't get cleared off. He didn't get deleted. They managed to pick him right back up as they squeeze themselves in for the next battle. This is zone number 4, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on for 10 more seconds here before true pandemonium kicks off. And SAF is still in a very, very comfortable position right now.
Yeah, they're in the center, at the very center. Just crazy defense from the side right now, Saf. They know their positions well. They know they have the upper hand. No, but then gets taken out too. It's going to be Rosix. No, it's a killing spree right now for Cobbs.
Oh, unfortunate, man. The zone is going to be putting on a lot of pressure as well. Auto knockout getting caught out wide in the open, and it's technically not their fault. RNG gods just not really fair to them. Getting them caught out in the open. The zone not doing them any favors whatsoever. PXG as well as SAF, they don't have to worry too much about this situation. 6 more teams left in here, Beef. Let's see who will be able to get to the top.
They went in there for the rotation. Like, yes, the RNG gods, it wasn't really in their favor for auto knockout, but then you need to make those micro decisions going into that circle. We already saw PXG Radicals and also Staff do that already. They made really micro decisions, micro rotations going into these buildings, and they really had that upper half. And here we go. Insanity's going to be going down, though, so it's up to his teammates to go in for the pickup.
Yeah, we do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. A lot of the action not on the screen, but we will be jumping onto them very soon. Macrotter gets taken down. Let's go on the ground as well. SAF now gonna be bleeding out. PXG with the opportunity. They hold on to the compound, but all of those glue walls will allow SAF to go in here for the pickup. Let's go right back on his feet. Forbid's now trying to close the gap between themselves as well as PXG, but they have to be very careful here. Damon's already waiting downstairs. PXG, the only question is, are they gonna step down, or are we going to see nades raiding up to the 2nd floor?
It's the nades that need to go up into that 2nd floor. Now, the circle is going to be closing in just slowly. 5 more squads left in the mix, 13 people left. But then, another fight ensuing here at the outside. The gatekeeping is going to be ensuing. Zeph is going to be 1 person left. I can actually go in, but no, gets eliminated already. Just 3 squads.
Unfortunate. SAF still alive and kicking. 7 kills already. They are gonna be going in for the knockout. Eliminated finally. But from the start, it just wasn't really an easy match for them to take on. But what a play, surviving as long as they did. And now this is a battle between SAF as well as PXG. SAF, they do not have the compound. PXG now releasing some of the advantage that they have, taking the fight towards SAF.
Philippines showdown. That's what's happening right now, and it's going to be so hard. So difficult, but then it's just like that. It's going to be PXG Radicals yet again to have that triple, but no, Let's Go. It's actually going to be having that response. 4 bids going down. I'm actually hoping to see how many members are left, but we can't really quite see it right now. It's anyone's game.
The time turners do go in and pop out, and this is just balls on the table. SAF eliminated. PXG Radicals pick booyah number 1.
Boo, yeah, and that is a way to make your stamp in the competition.
What a play, man. Mosto, Bramiel, Tanamo, Insanity, as well as Barba. Just like you said, Beef, picking up the 5th position in FFPO, who cares? As long as that number 1 spot is guaranteed for them over at the MCP Majors Season 2. This is game number 1. Although luck favored SAF, although the gods of RNG were thinking, hey, maybe we want to bump SAF up a little bit, it was just PXG taking matters into their own hands. And they were the aggressors at the very end. They had the compound. SAF came through. And I guess towards that very, very final battle is where PXG managed to, I guess, swing a little bit of momentum their way, right? Because SAF came in for the approach. And one by one, they just got their players taken down, Beef.
Their run was perfect all throughout the match. PXG Radicals, we know them, especially from the Philippine Open qualifiers, that they usually play outside of the map. And yes, they can engage for sure, but they like to play in the outskirts and then really make their way going in. But no, we saw a different PXG Radicals. So even like topple down SAF, the number 1 team of the Philippines, that's not going to happen here. They made their mark. This is the way they're going to be saying everyone that, yeah, we are a threat.
Absolutely, man. Well, on that note, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, let's welcome back our wonderful host back in here. We have got the one and only Danny. Danny, welcome back. We've got Hauler in here as well. What did you guys think about the match?
What a great match. I mean, at the end of the day, this is exactly what we wanted. We thought we were going to see some fireworks, and we saw that right from the first go. I mean, Supreme Assault Force, I thought they had it in the bag. They had most kills going in. Pretty crazy stuff right there. But PXG, man, they are looking good.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking maybe Freedom Rumble was going to be able to take that game. I thought the key play they had against Bloody Head was adorable. I mean, using the bike to draw Bloody Head's attention away and having your team backstab Bloody Head while they're trying to deal with the bike. Really cute play. I'm hoping we see some more teams do that because vehicles, I feel, haven't been fully utilized yet. So many teams are more concerned about their positioning, where they're supposed to be on foot, but I feel like vehicles, there's so much potential there that no one's really explored.
But vehicles are one of those things. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry, Hardy. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, just kind of on that point.
Yeah. You take it, my man. I've spoken enough already.
No, because the vehicles, it seems like you're painting a giant target on your back, right? You're making a lot of noise. You're kind of going up there. You're being super aggressive. I love the comment of Grand Theft Auto, and that was nothing but I could see nothing but that game in the sense that, hey, somebody needs to steal his bike.
Yeah. Absolutely agreed. Danny, good job on catching that because I had that in my mind thinking, was it an intentional play or was that them just making a absolute fool out of themselves, moving in with the vehicle, getting caught out, and then, you know, just taking that match right back into their hands because Bloody Heads just couldn't put up a great fight, right? But a very, very good point out there that if that was intentional, it was one of the best plays of that round.
I mean, I'm looking at it. It's not here yet, but I feel it was intentional with how they played it because if you get shot at, I think the first reaction most people would have is to get off your bike, right? But they kept going in with the bike. They went around the building so that their team, at least FRU, right, the rest of their team would be able to backstab and Bloody Head wouldn't see them coming. So I thought that was just such a cute play.
Yeah, risky play though, risky play. I mean, if they want to pull out plays like that in the MCP Majors Season 2, the best time to do it, it would be on day number 1, where you can take a few of these risks and then step it right back up, guys.
And I love that, right? And the fact that you can play a little differently, you can do things, just super all-out aggressive. It doesn't work now. I mean, you can just change up your play style moving forward. But was there a team here? I mean, if we're looking at the top 12 and we saw Tactical Index get knocked out a bit earlier, going into the next match, are you expecting something, maybe one of these bottom teams to change up that strategy?
Bloody Heads, man. I mean, I'm just looking at Bloody Heads to pick it right back up, right? And not because of their performance from game number 1, but merely because of what we saw them capable of doing in season 1 towards the very end. So from the bottom feeders at the moment, Bloody Heads for sure do easy as well. I'm quite surprised they got taken out in the 7th position there.
Actually, I think one of the reasons why Do Easy really got the bad end of the stick this match was they lost Bayets really early, and Bayets is essentially their heavy hitter. So without Bayets, I feel that Do Easy really struggles as a team to really make it into that late game. So I think game 1, it's not really an indicator as to what Do Easy can do yet. I think we've got to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, let's see how they do in Kalahari if Bayets is able to not get picked off so early.
And what do you think about Bloody Head? Yeah, technically they're 10th place and they got a little unlucky, but I mean, the top 2 teams are Filipino teams, and then 10th place, you're kind of there. You got to kind of pick it up, right? Got to get up with there in terms of your brethren, and we're just sticking it up. Not to make this as nationalistic in that sense, but I think that we're seeing, some of the top teams of the Philippines just kind of tear it up this one. I was very impressed with match 1.
Actually, just a
most
question
definitely.
to both of our casters. I want to ask AJ and Reef about this. So, in the late game, would you agree that PXG, they just had the better luck when it came to that final circle?
100%. I mean, yeah, as SAF, they had the majority of the luck, and then just at the very, very end, the very last circle, I don't know if the motivation to move was the circle, or the motivation to move was, intended because they thought that they could catch the side of PXG or whoever who was in the compound off guard, because they are the supreme assault forces of Free Fire, right? And I don't really know what went there, but with the way things broke down out in the open field versus a squad that has got a huge compound for themselves, yeah, SAF there's no way they could have won that fight.
Yeah, most definitely. I absolutely just agree with that. It's just so hard because for SAF, they were actually positioned really well. It's just the RNG gods weren't in their favor in that last circle when we saw that PXG Radicals was actually in that compound. And they were able to really just hold it down just for a moment. Yes, they had to go out, but then it's really up to that gun skill that really just they had. And we already know that both of these teams are really just aggressive.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question. Next one will be B first, and then we'll go Mustachio. Gosh, so confusing having all of you guys on screen.
I know, it's okay.
If we didn't have this RNG, would PXG still be able to beat SAF in a team-on-team one versus one gunfight? From what we saw,
most definitely. Most definitely, hands down, because we already know PXG to be really aggressive, and not only that, they're really smart. They changed up their play, because like what I mentioned a while ago, they're usually a team that goes into the outskirts of the circle while it's even going down, and then slowly just go inside, but then they changed it up. They went in there very early on, eventually met up with a lot of teams, and they used their talent. They were able to really utilize those gunfights, really had the upper hand, and really not engaging, knowing very well that they might lose it.
Yeah, based on the competition, Danny, if you ask me, on round number 1, that was just a little bit too chaotic. If it was a fair fight, no zone, involved early on matchup, both teams have got full-on loot, I think SAF will be able to take out the side of PXG Radicals. And I say this purely based on FFPO. I say this purely based on exactly where they stood at the end of that competition as well. PXG, no matter how much they tried, they couldn't cut it there. But it's a whole other story here, right? You're being bunched up with, all of the Malaysian teams. And just like we pointed out earlier on, although the Filipinos are low in numbers in terms of the number of groups which are in this competition, they bring in 100% quality, right? And just like that, 2 of them sitting down at the top. And it's going to carry on for quite a while, but I think it's going to still be SAF at the top.
SAF, PXG, both at the top. I think that they're going to continue to ride this whole skill train and just outkill everybody. But if the teams that are kind of in the second half, and then, they're in the second half of the standings, what do you recommend? What do they need to do differently going into match 2? Mustachio, I'll pass this one to you first.
pick your drop sites a little bit better. I mean, as you're moving in, you should be able to see if or not that you're going to have a little bit of company. You see company, you're not too confident, back away, right? Those early engagement, early gunfights, very, very few instances you will be able to avoid them unless you're dropping into a compound like Kalahari, where you've got a lot of verticals and you happen to drop on a safer height. It's easier to run away without being spotted. Bermuda, on the other hand, a little bit difficult. Thankfully, that's where we're going to be playing now, right? So pick those sites a little bit early. Worst case scenario, if you cannot avoid those early engagements, pick your drops a little bit better. Those vantage points will be giving you the advantage, all.
All right, so I think that's going to be it for me and Hauler. I'm going to pass it back to AJ and Beef. Take it away for our second game. This time on Kalahari.
Thank you so much, Danny. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is very, very, very complicated getting online shows like this kicked off. We will take a couple of rounds to sync with each other, and soon we will be on fire, just like the squads out there on the battlefield, Beef.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going to be, you know, like what Holler said, in calamari. Always going to be very spicy. Just because it's the verticality, like what we've been saying a while ago. Danny really did mention it. The verticality of this map is crazy because once you've seen one team drop into a tower, it's basically game over for you. But, speaking of, very early engagement already, but then not quite getting anyone just yet. What a first blood already!
No, Freedom! Freedom, Rumble, why are you doing this to Bloody Heads, man? They catch them early this time around. Bloody Heads getting knocked down. Oh, come on, give the squad a break. I want to see them in the final zone. Argon and MY taking a similar fight here against Auto Knockout. Both of them have chosen the foundation to perhaps build their foundation on. The loots are going to be quite limited as they try to fight each other whilst picking up a couple of guns as well, Beef.
Argon is going to be a little bit in trouble, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. Auto Knockout really did a good job in the first circles, but really did a bad job going out there and really just closing it in. But speaking of a team that's been struggling, Bloody Heads seem to be like they have a target in their backs just because there's going to be at least one team always taking them out.
Time Turner pulled out there. Not entirely sure why, but I guess we will find out in a bit. Mark is gonna be pressured now. Cobbs as well as Vegeta. They going in here for the push. 2-on-1. How long is Mark gonna be able to survive, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? He takes height to the roof instead, and I believe this is the best play one can come up with right now. Even if you do toss the nade up there, it's just gonna roll off.
I was going to say that Mark, with a really good utilization of his movements, going to be having a really great spot there at the top of the roof. But then speaking of, not a really great spot right now. As we can see, Argon is going to be having that first kill. That is so unfortunate for us to see. And it's going to be so hard for Auto Knockout to really just go in there. But then one person is going to be going down. No, two already for the side of Argon. It's really up to X2R and Mia to be able to get that.
Oh, unfortunate for Decos. Pulls out the Time Turner, but he gets taken down anyway. Oh, me! The final one. Taken is the guy to put the final bullet in the casket, if it's even a term, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Auto Knockout. They get the victory, but at what cost? It costed them two guys early on in this round. Pick your drop zones a little bit better, Mark! This time around, the guy pulls out the Time Turner at the right moment, survives a little bit longer. Cobb's right down below. Maybe if he has a nade on him, he does not have a nade on him. Poor guy! Mark is gonna die in a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Knocks himself out.
Oh, that's gonna be so difficult to actually go and pull through. But then
I'm gonna cry.
To go away. Just like, I know, Bloody Heads, what's happening? Mark is gonna be going down, and Cryfood, the only person left for Jay to actually go in for the pickup. It's gonna be so hard just because he's gonna be hunted down just little by little. Speaking of hunted down, we actually saw a bunch of them going down so easily, especially for the side of Freedom Rumble, just applying the pressure to anyone that comes their way. And this is probably going to be one of the best things for Bloody Heads to do, is for ZJ to go out and really play just for placement points and maybe even pick up like a kill or two once a lot of those teams drop members as well.
Yeah, the problem here for Bloody Heads is a chicken and egg situation as to how do they pick the next drop zone. Ooh, a far-off shot by Shiro here, managing to go in for the delete on Tricks, and the side of XBR will be looking for a couple of more frags, and they will be able to find 3 players. This is the advantage of playing on Kalahari. If you can take all of those vantage points, bird's eye view gives you the best opportunity to take all of these gunfights from a safe position.
This is why I love this map, just because you need to get that high ground and it's so much bigger. You get to see a lot of these teams really go in there for the plan. Shiro's going to be able to take some shots in, but then doesn't quite finish the job just yet. Spots another one, doesn't really quite get as the wall yet again is going to be blocking that site. But then, you know what? It's actually pretty impressive how the side of ITX is going to be able to actually handle this.
Yeah, Shooks is just running all around. He's trying to find a little bit of cover for himself. Plays around with the time turn a little bit. Manages to top his health right back up. And now they need to see how they can gather up together, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And maybe wait for XBR to come in for a callous push to turn the situation around. They are already 1 man down. And this handicap is not going to be doing them any favors whatsoever. Especially with the fact that they do not have eyes on most of the members from XBR.
Tactical Index is really playing this well. They shouldn't really go in there for the aggression just because they have one team absolutely giving them so much pressure. And speaking of, they're not going to be able to moving. And you know what? I feel like they need to wait for the zone to close up just so XBR can just go away. Because if they go out, the moment they go out, for sure, they're going to be taken out for sure.
Absolutely, which is why in Kalahari, you never, ever want to land in a spot that does not give you any of these vantage points to, at least put 1 sniper on to protect your team members, right? If you've got that 1 point covered, then maybe it's all right. This is just the side of Tactical Intex caught in a very, very sticky situation. And you are right, Beef. The only thing they can depend on is, well, not the only thing, I guess. One of the 2 things they can depend on is the safe zone. The other one is for XBR to get caught in another fight, in another gunfight. Hopefully another team strolls around, catches XBR off guard, and if they get caught in a gunfight, that's the perfect opportunity for Tactical Intex to walk away from that spot. Then again, nothing's going to guarantee their safety, right? Because regardless of whoever wins the gunfight against XBR, now they might be going in for the takedown on Tactical Intex.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for them to really go out. But then speaking of really hard, we're still kind of struggling to see the icons right now, who's who and who's going to be going into which part of the map. But you know what? What we know, number 1 team right now, as of right now, okay, is going to be the Freedom Fighters that we can see here.
Yeah.
Freedom Rundle, honestly, like the Freedom Fighters, they honestly are fighters. I mean, I feel like they should change their name to Freedom Fighters just because of how well they actually do. But you know what? It doesn't really quite matter. They're at the top spot right now, but then it's easily going to be taken out, especially knowing these teams. Some teams might not even be good in Bermuda, but some teams are absolutely crazy in Kalahari.
Oh, absolutely, right? I mean, it's a game of mastery, and if you love a map, usually all you want to do is just play on that map. We will be able to see which are those squads who have made that mistake, because at the end of the day, if you want to be a pro team, you want to come in here and dominate, you need to know all 3 of the maps like the back of your hand. Kalahari as well as Bermuda, the 2 maps that we'll be playing in here today on rotation, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Quite basic, but you are right, Beef. So different, the play styles on both of these areas, right? Nate now getting tossed out by Intex towards XBR, but that's not going to hit anyone.
Yeah, we're just going to be looking over here. It's going to be very hard for them to get out. Tactical Index is doing whatever they can just not to get spotted here. XBR is going to be in a little bit of a pickle, though. As you can see, the circle is going to be closing in on them just very slowly. Now, I feel like the cards have been laid out and the tables have turned of just because they need to go in for the push. And guess what? It's ITX that's going to be greeting them at the door.
And I don't know why ITX wasted those 2 nades. Those nades will come in very, very useful a little bit later on. ITX running away as fast as their little feet can carry them right now. They do not want to continue taking this fight. Zapnu has to top his health right back up. If not, they're not going to be able to survive as they move on in towards Bayfront. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Kalahari, map number 2. 11 teams still alive and kicking in here. 36 of the players alive. Beef, do you think ITX, based on their current performance and the way they have taken this gunfight, will be able to reach the final zone?
They need to play a little bit more passively. They really treated that well, though. They were only just one person down where the whole squad could have been taken out. But then, Refinery is going to be another place that a lot of these teams already are going to be getting here. Jembal is going to be the only person left. It's going to be so hard for him to pull through just because of how many squads are actually just surrounding him. Do Easy, not really having an easy time.
Umbrella Reborn right here as well. Do Easy got stuck in a fight between themselves as well as Umbrella. But unfortunately for them, SAF comes out of nowhere to pick up the pieces, snuff both of them out, pick all of the free kill points up, and move on towards the next zone. Crazy plays from SAF, looking at an opportunity, spotting it, and taking it for themselves.
I knew that Refinery is definitely going to be a point of contention for a lot of these teams just because of how well it's positioned in the map. And you have no idea, AJ, how many final circles I've seen in Refinery, and always the team that actually goes in for the push in Refinery always mostly gets the kill. A really, really amazing team that we've seen here from the Philippines actually was able to utilize that. And I think that's probably one of the better teams here in Kalahari. It's going to be AV Ligers, and Saf Deathmoon is actually going to be able to get that. They were able to go in there, and I feel like Saf, they are very comfortable in this map. They're going to be able to really just topple a team like AV Ligers in a map like Kalahari. Best believe they will do their best to get that booyah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love seeing exactly how AV Ligers plays Kalahari, right? You go into Refinery, they're always taking that vantage point. They always pick up the highest position, highest point within that map. But the one weakness of the teams that go in for those early push, early picks on those vantage points, they need to know exactly when to move, because most of the times the zone really messes with you, right? Refinery, you do not play the top spots, you will be able to slide right under some of these platforms, and whoever's on top, if they jump off, number one, they're gonna kill themselves, they're gonna commit suicide accidentally. Number two, when you drop, you can't really aim, you can't really shoot, so you're technically a flying duck.
Yeah, a flying duck. Well, I would want to see that one day for sure. No, not a sitting duck. No. And now I am craving for duck. But then speaking of craving, it's going to be so hard right now for EMX to go in here just because they are one person down. EMX have been doing a little bit so-so here in this competition so far, but there's still a lot of places for them to really go and pull through. And Nigmax is going to be that team that's always been in the middle of the pack, but then just like that, they're going to be having a really big engagement. It's going to be so hard.
Yeah, V2 had to run away because I think he tossed the bomb and knocked it back on his own blue wall, and it came right back at him. And now the push going to come back through. Johnson gets taken down. V2! Are we going to be able to see V2 now? Top his health right back up. Pulls out the glue wall just to get away. Slumber is there to pull in the backup. Freedom Rumble. Slumber runs right into them and now has to get out of here as well. As he is outside, Auto Knockout is looking at this fight from far away, waiting to see exactly when they can chip in a couple of bullets as well. We'll switch on over to PXG, who are in here for a battle of their own. EMX V2, ladies, German boys and girls, surviving Freedom Rumble. Slumber still not getting taken down, even after that mistake and that backstab. Not backstab, the trip mine. Very well placed trip mine coming in here from the side of Freedom Rumble. Takes him out of the equation. NXMX, it's all over.
The glue wall gameplay was just so on point right now for Freedom Rumble. They are so well utilizing that, and hopefully they weren't able to really just waste it at the very end. We can see here, gonna be able to really just take out one squad already. PXG, Insanity, surprisingly, is gonna be going down as the fight for Refinery is going to be ensuing. It's gonna be hard just because of Saf and PXG are gonna be going head to head, and you already know it's going to be Saf wanting to have that revenge, and Ramiel is gonna be taken out. Hanama and Barber are going to be the only people left in their team.
Let's see what they will go ahead and pull off in here. PXG, the team that picked the Booyah up earlier on, might be stuck in a sticky situation. XBR, full-on squad, but now they get attacked one after the other. Auto Knockout seems to be chipping in, and they are the secret saviors of PXG. The Namo as well as Barba will be able to survive for a little bit longer, and in fact be able to pick up a couple of kill points for themselves as well if they can use this distraction set up by AKO to knock XBR out of the competition. And now Nate getting tossed right through, not going to be meeting its mark. The Namo needs to back away and make sure he sticks really close with Barba as they continue all of those Nate plays. Freedom Rumble, on the other hand, will have a player taken down, but Zeth in front of them will not be as lucky.
Not lucky indeed. And speaking of unlucky, it's going to be PXG yet again. We already know that Kalahari isn't going to be their map just because they have an average kills of 4. Just 4. Compare it to a team like SAF where they usually have 8 kills. At one point, they even had 11. So you do not mess with a team like SAF if you are going to be playing here in Kalahari. And they already know that. Freedom, they're not going to be able to pull through there. But then, no, finally was actually able to go in for the pickup.
Bloody Heads get eliminated in the 7th spot. I well survived, my friend. Good luck in game number 3 for you guys. Vegeta now, Freedom Rumble. What can they pull off in here? Unfortunately for Forbits, he gets 4 kills and taken out already. Nade being tossed in by McRory, not gonna be meeting anyone. SAF, they have got the vantage point in here. Auto knockout off screen, nades galore, Freedom Rumble all taken out.
They're going to be chosen now one by one. A quadra kill is going to be ensuing as well. Saf is doing so much damage already. And Auto Knockout's going to be able to pull through also. But then it's going to be Saf. And then probably another member right now of Auto Knockout that's going to be able to go in there. But then you are going to be going up against Saf, a team that will not give you any light of day. And it's going to be so hard for them to push through. And it is going to be eliminated. 4 squads left in the mix.
SAF stepping in, getting all of the job done. Now PXG surviving still in here with Tanamo. It's a really, really good play so far, but in tactical Intex might be able to snuff them out. Tanamo's just playing campy. He doesn't want to step out. Taken gets knocked down onto the ground, and now all of those shots towards the glue wall will be putting on so much of pressure onto Auto Knockout. Taken gets knocked yet again, and Rosso has got the opportunity to pick him right back up. Zapnu going in for the pressure. Shooks will be able to drop in as well. SAF from the back, they are going to be able to pick the Booyah up if they just allow this to unfold and pick those final kills up for themselves, Beef.
They're basically just going to be vultures at this point. They're waiting for everyone else to kill each other, and then that's when they're going to go and strike. And they're just chilling in this compound. No one's going to even contest them even a little bit. But then Rossok's going to be able to get that quadra kill, so it's a good thing that they are going to be getting a lot of those kill points, and they're placing really, really well. 3 teams left, and it's anyone's game, but it just seems like Tactical Intex is going to be having a hard time, and just like that, we're finally going to have our second Booyah, and without any surprise, SAF is going to be that team.
The Philippines can send in 1 team instead of 5. It doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They have got the firepower to take on any Malaysian squad that steps up. Earlier, it was PXG Radicals. This time round, it's the Supreme Assault Forces with Let's Go, McRory, Toxic, Daymoon, as well as Forbits. Will they be able to continue this stride, or later on, will the Malaysians manage to step right back up? So far, it's just Philippines all the way, Beef.
Yeah, Team Philippines is actually proving to everyone that they really deserve to be here. And now Malaysia and Cambodia, they need to really go and pull through. And what's really impressive for me is that McRory is just, honestly, he's been consistently MVPing for a lot of their games. He's such an impressive player.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me take this opportunity to invite our host right back in here. We've got Holler as well as Danny. Welcome back, guys.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back.
Now, we have talked already. We are going to allow you guys to take this stage and throw your questions, throw your opinions towards us. SAF, they managed to step right back up. PXG, they just couldn't cut it this time around.
Yeah, SAF look like another team. I mean, we talked a lot about them in match 1. That's great, but I want to talk about Freedom Rumble, right? We knew that this is a top-tier team, and we did see them put on an amazing assault on Enigmax. It looked like a SWAT team, right? Very coordinated. Everything that they did was just on point. They had their rears covered with glue walls. Just very, very tactical, very coordinated. Awesome props to them. But unfortunately, they were eliminated in 6th. Sometimes when you get a little aggressive and you end up meeting those top-tier teams, you're going to get busted there. But that team really stuck out to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Freedom Rumble during the early game, right? Because we're seeing that they are currently the most active team from the get-go. As soon as they drop, they're hunting down teams. Whereas we can tell that SAF, then they don't have that same presence in the early game. They focus more on looting because they're anticipating that late game, which so far it's paid off because they have made it to the late game for 2 matches. They got the Booyah and 2nd place. So I think already from these 2 matches that we've seen from groups A and B, we're starting to put together what teams everyone's going to have to keep their eye on, which is SAF in the late game, Freedom Rumble's early game, and then we've got some of those middle of the pack teams where we haven't been able to develop an identity for them yet. So I think we're starting to see it, but we're not 100% sure on who's really the top dog.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Freedom Rumble to start playing the late game a little bit as well. I mean, as we all know, the placement points are just so little, right? If you go and you pick the Booyah app, that's the most solid picking in terms of placement points you can have for yourself. Worst case scenario, the top 3 should be able to bag quite enough for you. In the final zone, there's no way you're not going to be able to pick kills up if you're a team like Freedom Rumble. Hopefully, they focus in on survivability and then try to pick off a couple of players in towards the very end. That's exactly what SAF is doing. They never ever take a fight. They never ever engage unless they are very sure they can win and move on towards the next zone. It's all about surviving the first 6 zones and starting to fight at the 7th one to guarantee any sort of victory for yourself, Danny.
Right, so we've got the highlights up on the screen. Beef, was there any moment in this game where you feel that a team really stood out to you?
Honestly, Freedom Rumble really did a good job in that early game. They always do a great job, but they always just drop the ball later on just because they really do prioritize getting those kills and really getting to the aggression. But then you need to place high enough to be able to get those placement points as well. Yeah, we keep saying, the placement points aren't going to be that high, but then you're seeing a team like SAF and a team like PXG Radicals that gets the kill, but also gets the placement points. So it's that balance that this team needs to go through because they honestly want to get that booyah. They want to get the slice of that cake.
Yeah, everybody wants a piece of that cake, right? At the end of the day, when you're seeing the circle coming in and you're down to your 6th circle right here, like this is it's just all out madness, right? You need that utility, you need those grenades, glue walls, anything to keep yourself alive, and you just don't really have time and the space to really do anything. And you kind of just see, hey, look at these round standings, look at how much that booyah really put Supreme Assault Forces up at the top.
Yeah, we're actually now starting to see where these points are being allocated, right? So Supreme Assault Forces, a whopping 24 points. I mean, easily, if we combine the points, top team right now, no problem. They have the points to be up there. But then now we've got to take a look at PXG Radicals. They finished 5th. They managed to get the first booyah. So I'm wondering, are they still going to occupy that 2nd place? Because I don't want to say they dropped the ball this game, but they kind of did.
I mean, I don't know if they dropped the ball. Sometimes 5th place is still good enough. There's 12 teams. Let's not, as long as you're up in the upper half, right? We have many matches to go. I mean, we're going to have to just try to do what we can. Sometimes you're going to have an off day. As long as you're not eliminated first, I think that you're in a decent position. But the main concern for me is the number of kills that they're getting. 2 is really not enough.
Yeah, you really need to get out of this game with, I would say, a minimum of 6 if you want to be comfortable. So half the points you would get from Booyah, and then focus on those the last stage where you're really trying to aim for those placement points. Because there is a disadvantage to basically invest in a pure late game scenario. If your team gets eliminated early on, let's look at SAF as an example here, because we don't really see them being that active in the early game. Whilst they're looting, if they, for example, run into Freedom Rumble and the team gets completely wiped while they're basically playing the looting game, then you're finishing the game with practically no points. So there is a disadvantage to it. There's a right place and a right time to playing like SAF, and so far they've been able to pick the right situations. But what happens if that situation goes sour?
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, it's all about risk versus reward, right? Sometimes you can play a little bit passively. You can just try to get yourself in a good position to win, at least in the late game. But I mean, throwing it back to Beef Mommy and Mustachio, like what are your play styles? Are you more aggressive or are you more passive?
Well, I'm definitely more passive. It's like, I know AJ is a little bit more on the aggressive side. I watch him play BR, and the guy can play, but for me, I don't really get to play BR as much, so I really take a very calculated route. I try to place myself very, very well at the very early stages, so I don't really get a lot of kill points, but placement for sure, just to get that win, just to get that booyah.
Yeah, high risk, high reward. I do agree with you guys. But, Danny, to a little bit more to your point, right? Yes, if you get caught halfway whilst looting, it's going to be a tough situation. But we also need to look at what sort of teams they are. Freedom Rumble as well as SAF. They're not the kind of team that you kind of catch halfway through and wipe them out and move on, right? Bloody Heads kind of found that out twice in a row already. It's going to be quite tough. But when they take these aggressive moves, aggressive fights early on, just like what we saw happen to Do Easy as well as Umbrella Reborn, you will have those teams third-partying you very, very early on as soon as, they are rushing in for that safe zone. Is it going to be better for you to just play campy a little bit, secure a little bit of the placement points, or pick off 1 or 2 kill points and then get wiped out, right? It's all the balance of finding out exactly what will bring you the best in terms of points with where you stand in the competition. And I think Freedom Rumble will benefit way more from, just playing that final zone. And it seems like, that's exactly what they have done this time around. They managed to pick up the 3rd position for themselves. So good on them in terms of consistency. But we want to see the Malaysians step it up a little bit more as well. We know the Filipinos bring in the aggressive gameplays. And so far, it seems to be doing them really, really well. SAF, they're not really playing purely the end zone gameplay, right? It's just aggression from the get-go. And it seems to be panning out quite well.
Of course.
It's panning out pretty well. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna pass it to. Wait, that way. That way.
Okay, so we've got a code giveaway. This is going to be the first one. Mind you, if you are a player of Free Fire, this is the code. I'm not going to read it out to you because I will just have a hard time reading that. But put that in. Everybody has an opportunity to get this, right? It's not a first come, first serve. So throughout the entire stream, if you put that code in, you do get those items. So feel free to cash in and thank Garena for those free skins that you're getting.
And just a warning as well, folks. You might want to claim those now because that code, it does expire. It expires as soon as this stream goes down. So if you don't put the code in right now, you're gonna miss out. Trust me, you will forget. I've been there and I've done that.
Yep. Been there too.
All right, so as the teams get ready for our next round, we're going to be going into Groups B versus C in just a moment. Before then, we're going to go for a quick commercial break. Once we're back, we'll jump right into our second series of the day. Stick around, we've got some more Free Fire coming right up.
3 days to go.
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 There is 3 more days.
Armato Tindin, are you ready?
¿Estás listo?
Adakah anda sudah bersedia?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for it?
Are you ready? 你准备好了吗？
هل أنتم جاهزون يا أساطير لعيد ميلاد فري فاير الرابع؟
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
3 days to go.
Are you ready?
Quay nào em ơi! Booyah!
Absolutely bombed and taken up by MS-25. That's 2 down for Avis Tigers, and their aggression has not really paid off, as now they will get overwhelmed by the members of Freedom Rumble. Your boy was going to be the third one on chopping block. Comstas gets down as Arpav will take Red Panda down. Your boy was the last man alive. And it seems like Freedom Rumble will be forfeited for sure. Shaw's trying to help out, but isn't going to run into 3 different crosses.
Run, my
That is
boy.
not good for Shaw. They're going to try and gun them down. In fact, they will. Shaw's is down. MS25 picks him up, and now MS25 pushes on forward. Excel with the third one. And Shaw will be eliminated. Catch up to Geek Fam. Can they do it? They got one down. Calls at the window. They're rushing in. They're gonna take out Comp. Draz goes for a rotation, but he takes himself out. Comp down. This is it. AKO. Not gonna make it. That is international. They haven't seen him yet, but now they do.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the MCP Majors Season 2. We've just finished up our first series between Groups A versus B, and of course the next series is going to be B versus C. So we've got to shake up the teams a little bit here. As for anyone that doesn't know, my name is Daniel Lee. I'm going to be one of your hosts, and the other host next to me, the wonderful, the handsome, the hauler. How you doing?
Respect. Thank you so much for an intro like that. I don't know how I can keep up with that, but I'm just happy to be here. I saw some amazing matches already. I mean, Group B was there. We saw Freedom Rumble, Supreme Assault Force. Both of those two teams really picking it up, and they're going to continue to play. Right? They've got the momentum going in, and they're going to be facing off against Group C, which I think you mentioned it before. Was the Group of Death, Blacklist International, Fast Kills, and Woos. All of those guys are in that team, or in that group. So I'm expecting nothing but, just fireworks even going into this one, because there's going to be a lot of action. These 5 teams, they played in Season 1, so they kind of know each other, but we're going to see how they play off in Season 2 now.
Yeah, and there's also another factor we need to consider as well, especially when it comes to esports. Some teams love to play back-to-back Free Fire, whereas other teams, they really struggle when they don't get those back-to-back matches. So how much better is Team B going to perform compared to teams in Group C? Because they're already warmed up, they've already played their matches. Is it going to be a big factor? We don't know.
I mean, okay, well, I do agree that warm-ups, they need to happen. You need to be playing with, top-tier guys, and you kind of get the feel for it. But Group C are not the type where they're just, like, lounging around watching, Netflix or whatever. These guys are playing. They're making sure that they're warmed up and they're ready to go. There's a lot of money at stake. There's 50,000 in terms of prize pool. They're going to be ready, right? They're professionals. They're going to be here, and they're going to be ready to go.
Yeah. Now, before we jump into the match, I think we're going to be looking at the overall standings as well, just to see where everyone currently is. Now, the only changes we're going to see coming up next is that Group C is going to make their mark on the leaderboard, but then after this series, this is basically it for teams in Group B. They've completed all their matches, and their fates will be determined by the final series, which is going to be A versus C, that happens after this. So we're going to kind of have an idea as to what we're looking at in terms of points, but I want to see what the big difference is, right? Like, is Group B insanely strong? Is it Group C that's insanely strong? Which is the weaker group? And then what could we expect when we have the roster shuffles? Not the roster shuffle, sorry, the team shuffles when it comes to the mid-season shuffle.
Yeah, and we're going to see a lot of that. I mean, it is just day 1, right? We have 12 days of matches, so, you have a long road ahead of you. Let's not worry and just kind of, crown Supreme Assault Force as our champion as of yet. We haven't seen 6 teams play yet, so we're going to see something. They're going to definitely change it up, and if we're looking here, Supreme Assault Force, top 1, I mean, they did quite well. PXG Radicals, they got, the Booyah in the first game, so they're going to be in second place. They've done well as well. But AKO Legend, look, we haven't talked too much about this team, but I mean, they've got 13 kills. That ties your PXG. They've done quite well. And again, Freedom Rumble, we've seen these guys. They've been in the fire throughout the entire matches of today. So they're in the top 4.
We'll have to see if they stay there, right? Now we are going to be jumping into Groups C. Now, for people that don't know who's going to be in Group C, as you take a look at the leaderboard, teams from 13 to 18, you can see they have no kills, no points, and that's because these teams haven't played. So that is going to be your teams that you need to look out for in Groups C. We already mentioned as well, Hauler, Blacklist International, one of the big teams in this group that you need to keep your eyes on. Fast Kill MY, also a rather scary team. And then we can't forget Almighty, because we saw how strong the Filipinos look right now, but we haven't seen Almighty play yet, and how strong this team could potentially be.
Yeah, and aside from missing an I in their name, I think that I'm just kidding. They're quite good. We've saw them in qualifiers. They did in that. Woos is another team that I'm actually looking forward to. I saw some good things out of season 1 out of them, and I expect nothing but the best. And throughout the league stage, it's all about consistency, right? You don't have to be the highest fragger. You don't have to get your booyahs all the time. But if you're in the top 12, that's good enough, right? Because of the fact that you're going to get into the grand finals, and that's pretty much where the money is. You got to get yourself into the top 12. You don't have to be faster than the Bear, but you need to be faster than, 6 other teams, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, you could run down the hill. The Bear can't chase you down the hill, so just go down the easy route, right? Try and get those points in. I mean, at the end of the day, the goal might be the points, but also you can't forget some of these teams really need to make that money as well. We haven't got too many tournaments going on, so this is a saving grace for some of these esports teams, because if they don't place well, then they're going to struggle financially.
Yeah, and let's go to match 3. We're going to go right to Mustachio and Beef Mommy, and they'll take it away.
Thank you so much, Holla, as well as Daddy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back, and if I'm not mistaken, it's quite difficult to outrun a bear.
It's quite difficult to outrun a bear, especially knowing very well that it's going to be coming right at you. But you know what? I saw a really, really good opportunity to just take this out. There is no I in Almighty, because there is no I in team, because this is just teamwork that we need to see here. Yes, individual gunfights is going to be important, but then that communication that you have as a team is going to be key.
And when you're almighty, who cares about a couple of spelling errors? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's all about the prize pool. These guys are dominant. And hey, Danny mentioned earlier on that Group C might be the group of death. I see where she comes from. 4 out of the 6 teams in there are the invited teams in for the MCP Major Season 2. But for me personally, Group B seems to have quite a number of big names, right? And I'm not just referring to Blacklist International. I mean, we've got views in there, but Fastkill, MY4, X-Men Expert, these 2 squads have more than surely put their mark on the Free Fire world at the FFMC, and now we move into MCP Majors. We want to see exactly what they can bring in here, right? Almighty, I've never seen, exactly how they fare against the Malaysians, so today will be that one opportunity for us, Beef.
Well, I have a prediction, because Almighty does so well early game, but then they kind of struggle into that late game, just closing it out, because I feel like a team that can really be comparable to them would probably be Freedom Rumble. They do so well in the beginning, getting a lot of those kills, but at the very end, just dropping the ball, placing 5th or even 3rd. But at the very end, they were able to actually learn that. They were able to go in and get a couple of booyahs already.
Yeah, speaking of teams that love to go in there for those early game quick kills, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Team Fastkill MY, the Malaysians are pretty much, very, very avid fans of the early game aggression, not really doing very, very well towards the final zone. This time, the flight path cutting through from Mill all the way down to Observatory. Let's see if or not Fastkill MY will be able to get those fast kills from the start all the way to the end and survive as well. Almighty will be moving in towards the peak, but 4 X-Men Expert will be dropping in to say hello. Come on, boys, stop right there. Nope, this is exactly what I'm talking about. 4 X-Men Expert, they move on into peak. They see Almighty there. They want to fly off to a better compound, but it's a little bit too late. We might just catch a little bit of action there, Beef.
Speaking of action, take a look at the right side of the map. Cape Town is going to be having a lot of gunfights, but we're not looking at that right now. Okay, speaking of, here we go. Back into the action. XBR going up against Blacklist International. Now, that is going to be a little bit hard just because you're going up against such a Goliath of a team, and Guns is going to be going down.
Yeah, Blacklist International, not ones to mess around with, and they are in here for the push. Are we going to be able to see a super aggressive side of them, or will they just get a couple of kills and back away? Early engagements, no matter how good you are, they can go 50-50 Beef.
50-50, it doesn't seem like it, just because they're just absolutely crushing every single one that they're going to be seeing. But then it's a good thing that XBR is going to be backing away from that fight. I like to see that. Now, this is a team that knows their stuff. They are going to be a little bit more passive, really not engaging, knowing very well they're going to lose that. And Guns is going to be the only person down. So 3 members is not going to be bad going into that final circle. So it's a good thing that they're going to be going away safely, though. But then just right behind them, we might see Blacklist International want to go in for the chase.
Yeah, absolutely. XBR, the right decision being made in here. So hopefully they will be able to string this on along later on. Down by one man, that's going to be quite painful to deal with, but they have to see exactly how they can recover and move on in for the rest of the plays. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can survive, be the top 3 teams, you're going to be able to bag quite a number of position points for yourself, which can technically negate the death of guns early on in this match. But hopefully they are able to survive with that one man down.
It's going to be very possible, and we already know that their gameplay, they can just disengage whenever they want. And then speaking of Wheels, it's going to be a very interesting team. Honestly, Wheels is going to be very, I don't know, strong, but just because Mbalor is going to be that sniper that can definitely clutch it up. But they've been having an up and down, and speaking of that 50-50, that team definitely is going to be going in 50-50, but then a team that has been doing so well so far is going to be Almighty, already engaging early game.
Oh, it's going to be Umbrella. Now, iPods as well as Zay on the ground. AKO dropping in here for those shots back to back. And auto knockout will be able to knock out Umbrella Reborn. Yep, back to the lobby. Reborn for the next match, boys.
Knocking out every single person that comes their way. And they don't want to be in the middle of the pack. No, they want to be that #1 team. And auto knockout, they're so impressive in this competition so far. Oh, a little bit of flaunting over there, having a very nice flag. And it's really just the skulls in that flag that really is going to be them. That they're showing everyone, you know what, we're not here to play, we're here to slay.
Let's see if or not they will be able to slay all the way through. I mean, it's a great way to kick this off, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Once again, this is the matchup between Group B as well as Group C. So we still will be able to catch quite a number of these big names in here. Argon MY, Dewey Z, Z Squad, Bloody Head, as well as... wait, it should be Group B as well as C, right, Beef?
Yes, it's B and C right now. So it's going to be Group C's time to shine, and Group B has been playing since a while ago.
Yeah. Why did I think that I caught the name of Bloody Heads earlier? I must be still half asleep.
Well, I feel like there might be a little bit of fog in your head, but you know what, Bloody Heads, they've been struggling in this competition here so far, so I feel like the struggle is definitely going to be real for them, especially going up against Team C later on. Group C is not going to be giving them a very easy time. And, you know, speaking of a very easy time, Wills is going to be definitely that team that can probably shine, but then they don't have the consistency yet. But hopefully they've been training the past few days and the past few weeks that they've had.
Oh, it's not going to be an easy fight in here. Blacklist International dropping in for the slice onto Views, and it is going to be all out. Aoki, he has got the vantage point in here. Ambalore as well as Alforte on the ground. Aoki, what is going on? Blacklist International on another level here today.
Blacklist International already coming out in a booming way. 5 kills already to their name. And that's going to be so hard to beat. And they're already taking out one of the more aggressive teams. And Wills, yes, they did have like a 50-50 run, but they're usually giving a little bit more of a fight. But then Blacklist International does not care. They are going in there for the kill. And honestly, with this run right now, it's going to be very impressive.
Freedom Rumble getting away. They've already lost one man, not staring around to see if or not they will be able to win a couple of fights. And now 4 X-Men Expert right in front of them. Spade is going to get caught out in the open here. Jibat for the backup as well. What is going to break down in here? Freedom Rumble literally driving straight towards the compound of 4 X-Men Expert. One guy to place backup. I hope they're making the right decision here. Nate going to get tossed in here by Spade. Not going to find anyone at all. The distraction gameplay for Drags to get the snipes from that right-hand side. I hope this pans out well for them, because the numbers game might give 4 X-Men Expert the advantage, Beef.
The advantage needs to be on their side right now. It's going to be very hard. But then both of these teams, it's anyone's game. Because we have 4X Spade to have that upper hand to really get that 2F control. But they're not going to be able to go in there for the kill. But then it's going to be so bad. It's going to be very hard as Spade is going to be applying that pressure. Finally gets the knockdown. And it's going to be Freedom Rumble. It's going to be at the very short end of the stick.
What a nade onto Maru. That's exactly what I love seeing. And now Jabat trying to respond with a nade of his own. Cobb's gonna get caught out. Cobb's on the ground. And a beautiful response nade coming through from 4X-Men Expert. They go in for the delete as well. Maru back on his feet. This is what I mean. What was Freedom Rumble thinking going in for the push? It was such a risky maneuver. In Fast Kill MY getting caught in a fight with XBR. Hopefully they will be able to use the safe zone to their advantage because they are the first ones in.
Freedom Rumble just didn't really read the room, couldn't really read the situation. And like what we saw early on in the game, we actually saw one team just get one person out, but then they were able to really just back away. And that just wasn't the case right now. But then, speaking of, this team is going to be so impressive for me. FSK, Fast Kill, is definitely going to be fast in their feet to know when to actually go and back away from a situation. But then this is not going to be easy because they're going to be outside of the zone and they need to go in there very quickly. But then that's not going to be a lot of damage, but they might get cake kept with the teams that are going to be at the very outskirts of that circle.
Yeah, Team Fastkill, most definitely one of the most disappointing Malaysian teams, if you ask me. Only because they're capable of so much in Free Fire. But you know, many of those misplays coming in match after match after match, especially with the early, round aggressions that they seem to be taking on. Because these guys are gifted mechanically, right? They can take some of these gunfights and walk out of it without a scratch. But with the early pushes again and again and again, as we saw in the FFMC, it didn't pan out too well for themselves at all. At the end of the day, they only managed to pick up the 8th spot. In the starting weeks, they were lingering around the top 3 beef.
Yeah, they've been really pulling through, and this is what we need to see for them. Maybe they're having a very hard time, not just because of the jitters, the day one jitters, like we always like to say, but these teams need to know what's up because it's going to be game time. They need to get as much points as that they can. But speaking of getting a lot of these points, Jetpat is going to be in a very tricky spot, but then goes in for the pickup as well. Again, another team is going to be up in their mids. It's going to be very hard right now. It's Black.
Yeah, for X-Men Expert, they've already gone in with all of those nade tosses, so hopefully they've got more in their arsenal. I know Jabat has got one in here. He has been summoned, and if he can go in right beside Spade, toss a couple of nades into the house where Blacklist International has Clanks as well as Manflank, that's just going to be the perfect opportunity for them. Blacklist International, I love the ideation here. They want to go in for the pinch, and they will be able to pull it off unless for X-Men Expert get those expert nades off first. There you go. Spade positioning himself. Jabat in here for the backup as well. They both need to go in for the toss at the same time, but Claggins as well as Manflank a little bit too smart. You see that vehicle right behind there, Beef? That's the main reason why I hate vehicles being used in the game, because it gives you that mobility. You get taken out in the open and that's it. You are stuck. You have to play the position that you get stuck in.
Absolutely, you're right. And with vehicles, you need to utilize them very well. But then it's going to be applying that pressure. We are going to be taking a look right now of Almighty, though. Already one person down. Ren is going to be out so early in the game. And Almighty is going to be very impressive in this map. Bermuda has been their playground. They've had so many kills already in the past tournaments. But then, speaking of a lot of bullets, it's going to be 4X yet again. Take a lot of these shots. But then they are going to be over pushing. I feel like this might be detrimental to them.
Oh, I love what 4X-Men Expert is doing right now. Blacklist International running away with their lives, Manflank, and Goku should be able to get these kills. They go in for the pressure. One of them gonna get taken down. Glue walls might get popped up, but all of the terrain being used to their advantage. Clanks finally gets taken down by Ramiel, and Jabat puts the final bullet through his head, and Blacklist International not doing too great at all.
4X-Men is going to be that vulture. They've been going in there, being the experts that they are in. Blacklist International seem to be like they've fallen in grace, and they're basically going to be hunted. The hunters are going to be hunted by the bigger prey up in the skies. But speaking of another team that hasn't been doing so well, it's going to be Almighty, Batman, and Jay-Z going to be the only team left. But then no, Batman's going to be the only one left here.
I used to love seeing Batman play, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but unfortunately in the sticky situation that Almighty is caught in right now, I don't think this is going to be easy at all. Auto Knockout as well as SAF, they started this fight and Almighty just got caught in between and they all died. Oh my goodness, that rhymed so well.
That rhymes so well. You know what, Musashi? You should be a rapper for sure. Your rap name's probably going to be
the only rapping I can do
again.
is my dinner that I want to put in the fridge, Beef.
Oh yes. Oh no. We're talking about calamari. We're talking about wraps. I cannot. I'm getting hungry already because the competition is going to be absolutely insane, and I am famished. And then the hanger, it's not going to be easy just because there's so many people already surrounding this team. PXG Radicals doesn't really quite matter. It's going to be auto knockout yet again with a knockout performance so far, though. Let's see what is going to happen for them.
Yeah, Auto Knockout needs to find a way for them to hold a better compound because there's no way telling exactly how the next zone will go. You don't want to play with luck. You want to make sure you can scout around to see if or not you can spot a vehicle. The vehicle will help you get towards the next zone if it gets pulled all the way towards Clock Tower. So let's see exactly how AKO plays this. Of course, for the time being, SAF is keeping their eye on them, and that's going to be a situation which is very, very, very difficult to overcome. How AKO can get out of this sticky situation is to use all of those buildings at hangar, pull out all of those glue walls as they try to get in towards the next safe zone, and thankfully it is not too far. This will still be a tactical move all the way in for the next part.
PXG Radicals gonna be able to go in there, pushing into Clock Tower, but then two members right now, Blacklist, are going to be there. But then Almighty, surprisingly, with the early elimination, is going to be a little bit disappointing just because we had so much expectation from this team. And it seems like the Malaysians really want to go in there for the win. PXG Barba, only having that one kill though. But I really just want to tackle on what just happened to Almighty. They've been one of the stronger Philippine teams, and it just seems like Malaysia really wants a slice of that cake.
And SAF is still in here, so oh, the boys gotta fight. The boys gotta fight real hard, man. And now SAF, speaking of whom, PXG try to take them down. They want a little bit of a revenge in here. 2 kills on the board so far. Rabiel getting taken down. A fast kill. Yun from afar drops him. And this is something that the side of PXG did not expect. Rabiel on the ground. Insanity down as well. McRory steps in with the grenade launcher. How much more of damage can PXG sustain?
Fast kill is going to be too fast, but then I feel like they're going to be going for the pickup right now. But then, oh my goodness, the sandwich is going to be coming along. Fast kill is going to be in such a very good position. McRory's going to be able to take advantage of the situation, gets rid of people from PXG, one by one, dropping like flies.
Yeah, fast kill. They are getting it done right this time around. Ali got taken down, but it's not really an issue for them at all. SAF, even if they do get knocked one after the other, the glue wall plays are a little bit too solid for fast kill to take advantage of from such a far position, right? I mean, a little bit closer, we might be able to see them use some of these lethals, toss in a couple of grenades right behind those glue walls and punish the side of SAF, but no one's able to do that at the moment. And SAF will still be a huge, huge threat in this round.
PXG Radicals just got third party. Now that is so unfortunate to actually see. But then another team that's going to be so impressive, 4 X-Men experts, absolute experts at getting in there for the kill. They're going to be meeting another team though. That's going to be very, very hard for them to actually go and pull through. Yes, I don't even know how they're still getting all of those shots.
Yeah, I don't know how he got an angle onto Blacklist International. They're not even on our screen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is 4 X-Men Expert. Now, although they are able to get these knocks, they're not really taking advantage of it because the kills, the deletes just do not come through. Goku! Drops Nga from afar. Auto knockout now. Have to deal with Goku's knives. And the time turner gets pulled out as well. Goku should be able to go in for the delete. And auto knockout. They are on the ground. Hopefully, there's a little bit of backup, and the backup approaches ever so slowly. 4 X-Men Expert now need to change their view over to ITX, who's right in front of them.
It's going to be so hard. There's going to be so many teams already that they're going to be meeting. But it's going to be so hard. It's because we see auto knockout just going to be up the top of that hill. But then it seems like 4 X-Men is going to be having a hard time choosing which teams to actually go and kill because there's just so many of them surrounded, and they need to look for that positioning. I think that's the most important thing is they need to go in for that really good position. Oh, are they cheerleaders
Teamwork,
right
my
now?
man. No, not teamwork. Teamwork. It's all about the teamwork. And now SAF, they have got quite a good position in this zone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Auto knockout, spreading themselves out thin. They have to be careful because Orin from the back should be able to take these backstep shots against Taken. And there you go, Orin going in for the shots. SAF will be able to rain down all of the firepower as well. Taken has managed to pull out the glue wall, but we will be able to see if or not he gets taken out from that backstab. SAF moving on in, the zone not with them. This is this is one of the first times we will be able to witness how SAF moves in whilst they do not have a great position, they don't have a great compound, and the zone's not with them as well.
Freedom Rumble already out of the mix. Now that's going to be so hard to actually go in just because they needed to get those kills. They just went down already. We just know that Kalahari is going to be their map. But then here we go. Forbid's going to be taking a lot of shots, having a lot of that glue wall gameplay. They've been playing it to perfection, actually. McRory even gets in for the heal. And surprisingly, Saf is just so good at pushing in, even though it's going to be such an open space.
Yeah, so even with the open, which is why I pointed out, right? First time we're going to be able to see exactly how SAF does it, and that's the right way to do it, right? Play your glue walls, manage it all the way in, and find a great compound for yourself. SAF managing to do exactly that. Now they have to be careful because the nade can come flying through, and that's exactly what happens. Taken takes one out from the side of SAF with that nade, and the same happens to MTX as well. Now Shafiq trying to get those shots off here. He has got the second floor of this compound. All of the players around MTX, they have got nowhere to hide except behind the walls, as well as the glue walls that they can pop up on their own. Maru in front of Shafiq. A couple of nades might help. Matrix eliminated. Look at that nade of perfection coming through from Forbid.
God nade, we already know that Saf is definitely going to be one of those people that can actually go utilize and have amazing gameplay with those nades. PXG Radical's already going to be eliminated just like that, but then FSK is going to be having a hard time as well. It's going to be Shark. It's all up to him to actually go and pull through. Fast Kill is going to be having a really hard time with just one player left in the team.
Shark! What a bait! And he goes straight through, eating all of these extra fishes in the sea. Goes in for the backstab as well. Shark is just slaying. 6 kills so far. Jumps right through. Is he going to be able to pull out the glue wall and survive? No! FSK eliminated. And it is the one and only. It is the team of 4 X-Men expert picking up the booyah!
What? Shark was the only person, and we already saw how much they actually struggled, but no, 4X-Men definitely have that finisher. Jibat, Spade, Maru, Goku, Ribal, and Logan is definitely going to be that squad that will get that third booyah of the day.
Yes. See why when I was talking about Group C, 4 X-Men Expert, Fast Kill MY, these two teams we definitely need to keep our eyes on beef. Let's bring our hosts right back in here, Danny as well as Holland, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, guys.
Crazy game! Oh my gosh.
Alright, who wants to go first?
The one with the cat, of course. I feel like you need to take charge of that cat, right?
Oh, he's fine. He just wants to snuggle. He insisted on being on the stream, so I thought I'd bring him on. But that was such a fun game to watch, and this was such a big difference compared to the first series that we watched for the day. Oh, he's gonna wake up.
Can I just say, your cat is so look at those eyes.
So
What?
majestic. So majestic.
Yeah, I've never seen a cat that beautiful.
As an
I'm
added
not even
bonus,
exaggerating that it's a beautiful
makes
cat. But
glue
anyway,
walls.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, was it more beautiful than the booyah that was pulled off by 4 X-Men Expert though?
Okay, I mean, X-Men's Booyah was great, but I just want to point out, Shark had such a big opportunity to grab so many kills. That was gorgeous, right? He smelled blood in the water, he saw people down, and he just decided, I'm going to whip my gun out, I'm going to grab those kills, because at the end of the day, valuable points. Yes, he played second, but I feel like he was such a big winner for his team because he got all those kills, and I think it made up for the fact that they came second. I think it was so worth it for him to actually put that effort in and say, okay, kills a priority here. Booyah,
Yeah, I think he was going in for the booyah as well. It's just that, you know, luck wasn't on his side because the zone kind of closed in. He got a little bit of his HP knocked off as well. Didn't pull out the glue walls, didn't have many of those to play around with in that final zone, right? But to pick up all of those opportunistic kills absolutely excellent, right? And if he did not go in for the push onto 4X-Men Expert earlier on, it would have been an all-out 100% victory for 4X-Men Expert. At the very least, this guy could ask those questions. 1-on-1 finally he dropped, but it was a really, really well-played match between the two squads.
And 4x4 men, I mean, this is a team that came out of the qualifiers. This is a brand new team. This is something that we haven't seen. We definitely need to keep our eyes on them because they look very, very good. But let me give a shout out to Black International. I think that was a team that, you know, they lost a team member very early in the game, but they were able to kind of just get themselves back in. SAF had 10 kills, right? I mean, that's no small feat in and of itself. So very big props to SAF for that as well.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, when the double vectors was still the main meta of the game, before the snipers got brought right back in, Blacklist International, or back then as they used to be known as Baby Argon, they were supreme, right? We could see Cobra going in for those CQCs, and he always gets those ballsy battles. They're always closing in the gap and trying to take these close range fights. But ever since the snipers came right back into the game, Cobra's not a threat, man. Blacklist International, they get snuffed out so easily from afar. And they take these aggressive pushes. I feel like they have forgotten where they stand in terms of the meta. They cannot afford these aggressive pushes anymore, guys.
Yeah, it just seems that Blacklist International, their style of play is phasing out, and they're struggling to adapt to this new style that everyone's seemingly picking up much quicker. Beef, I wanted to sort of ask you, we've been watching a lot of Freedom Rumble, and they dropped out so early in this round. What really went wrong for Freedom Rumble in this round, do you reckon?
Well, we didn't really get to see them as much because they just got eliminated so early. It was basically like 4 X-Men that just did so much damage. Even though they were down 1 man so early on against Blacklist, they were able to go away. That was the brilliance that we saw in that early game. They went away, 3 teams just go in there, tried to kill them, but no, they just had a response every single time. Even to the point that they went in there at the very late stages, at the very last circle, to have Shark just basically pick up and play Vulture, picking up a lot of these kills and eventually landing them that second place. That is so impressive, and I like to see that in a team.
Yeah.
You always need that one guy, the one that's going to go John Wick on you when you need him in the, you know, like the last minute. But let's go into the highlights real quick and just see exactly what we saw in that last match, which was just a whole bunch of action left and right.
So just
going earlier on auto knockout.
So just going off the match that we've just seen, guys, how are we feeling for groups B and C compared to what we saw in groups A and B?
SAF definitely will find their kryptonite in Group C. That is for sure. I mean, the Filipinos were conquering the battles, conquering the lobby before Group C stepped in. And when Group C stepped in, you know, things just turned around so fast, right? SAF, they were not as aggressive. It's not like they didn't try. PXG got caught off in a very sticky situation there. Hopefully, we will be able to see another matchup with a similar story so we can kind of confirm this theory that they are truly the kryptonite. But, you know, if things change up once again, then I think we'll have to keep the discussion till the end of the day.
Fair enough. Anything you want to add, Beef?
Oh yeah, definitely, like, Group B is definitely shaking right now just because of Group C. They've been doing so well, and you already know that the Malaysians, I already had a feeling that they were actually going to be winning this one, and I like to see that.
And let's take a look at the standings after that third match. We see 4X-Men, obviously, top on there. They got the Booyah. They got 7 kills, but SAF with 11 kills. Fast Kill with 10.
Wow,
so everybody's getting their kills, and they're staying alive. I mean, this is perfect. They have not been playing passive, and they've not been playing passively. They've been going for those kills, and they've been very aggressive and rewarded for that.
Anyone see this coming? 3-way tie? No? Okay, I didn't either. But this is actually really interesting because now we're starting to see how aggressive the top heavy teams are so far. I mean, this is just one round. We could maybe see something a little bit different moving on to Kalahari, a completely different map compared to Bermuda, but 4X-Men, Supreme Assault Forces, Fast Kill MY, Blacklist, I feel like they're almost there. It's just, I feel that they got messed over in that first round. Something I do know about Blacklist is that Kalahari is one of their better maps, so we might see a bit of a turnaround going into this next round. guys?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm hoping to see something. Like, there's got to be a difference, right?
I mean, I guess no one agrees.
I mean, no, I agree with you. But there's a lot of other teams that really need to step up. It is just the first game for Group C, so just having an opportunity to play with the big dogs, it's a different game altogether, right? Group B, I think they came in a little overconfident. I mean, you're still seeing the top in terms of, Freedom Rumble, SAF, both doing okay. Not the worst thing. I mean, Freedom Rumble is a little ninth on that one. But, I mean, we still have many more matches to go. It is day one. We don't need to overreact with that.
Wow, was I overreacting? Oh, I didn't know that.
No, you didn't mean it in that way.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go that far.
It's fine. I was kidding. My goodness. All right, so we're going for a bit of a change of pace now because Kalahari is slated to be our next map for the upcoming series. Do you think we're going to see a similar style of play from these teams? I mean, we did see a lot of aggression, but we had a lot more teams surviving the final round compared to groups A and B.
Yeah, I'm assuming we'll see as an aggressive push that Fastkill will bring into the next match that we saw earlier on. But whether or not they'll get to the final zone, we will have to wait and see, right? Because once again, the probability of Team Fastkill keeping up this performance is quite low based on their previous performances that they've shown us in FFMC. They are so good at the start and then they drop off. But here's one thing though, 4X Men Expert. Let's put a pause on that because I feel like the audience has got something awesome to hear about first.
Yeah, and there's going to be a code, and it's going to be going on 2X Death's Eye Gunbox. This is your code. Claim it now. Everyone can do it. It is not a first come first serve, so don't need to to worry or be pressured.
You nearly went there again.
Won't be able to type it in because there's a lot of letters that you got to put in, right? So make sure that you do it. Take a screenshot. Do what you can.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, that's a long letter, and you make sure that we have that. So you put that in. Make sure you get your free skins. You're gonna have to. You're gonna be able to claim it throughout the rest of the stream, and it does close at 5 p.m. So feel free to claim it at least before that.
Absolutely. Now, going back to what I was saying, right? 4X Men Expert at the Free Fire Malaysian Championship, they had such a late start in the competition. And what you see here in their first match of the MCP Majors is what we were seeing towards the end of FFMC. So I'm looking forward to seeing way more from them, right? Because it's not just the great gunfights that they take, it's the movement from having such a bad position out on the battlefield and finding a compound for themselves. We saw them. All they had between many teams in front was a couple of trees as well airdrops in front of them, but they did not waste any of those glue walls and they still managed to move on all the way into that final zone. So a lot of improvement and they are shining from the get-go. If they are able to pull that off yet again, I think they will be the favorites for the next Booyah as well.
All right, so I do believe we're going to be jumping into the match very soon. Now, should we throw in some predictions? Because I do feel that we have a semblance of opinions for teams. Who wants to go first?
Yeah.
I do. I want to go first. Okay, so you guys mentioned that Blacklist International is really good in Kalahari, and we already know that SAF is also going to be very good in this particular map. So it's either of the two. It's really who gets to position themselves early on really well, maybe probably even have that verticality thing that we keep saying, right? That would probably be the team that would win it. Either those two.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right, I'm of all the underdog story, right? I feel like the PXG, we heard about them, they won the first Booyah. They've been largely quiet since. I feel like they still have a lot in the tank, so to speak, and I expect a big game, at least this one, just ended it out for them.
Yeah, Danny, how about you?
Wow. See, I know what the plan is. God damn it, AJ. All right, so I'm probably going to have to put my money on... Yeah, I think I'd have to go with Blacklist as well. They would at least get top 3. This has to be their map.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Holler, as well as Danny. We'll take over for the time being and we'll catch up with you right after we find out who grabs the Booyah on Kalahari. And Blacklist International seems to be that popular name that keeps coming up, and it's very easy to see why, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Whenever they drop into Kalahari, they play their positioning really well, but the gunfights just don't seem to be on point. The flight path cutting from Stone Ridge all the way down to Oldhampton will allow full access throughout the whole map for wherever these teams want to, go in here for the drop. So I'm quite curious to see if or not any one of them is sharing these drop zones, Beef.
Oh, well, speaking of sharing the drop zones, we're going to be seeing a very hot start here. The Freedom Rumbles are going to be able to go up against another squad. Now, they need to really have a very interesting fight, though. They need to play it right, because it's going to be Saf, and it's not going to be easy to actually get it there and take him out.
Yeah, you see what I mean? You get caught in a gunfight early on, you have to kill or be killed. Running away is not an option, but I also threw in another point there, that it's very, very easy to run away when you are at Kalahari. Because of the terrain, it gives you quite a bit of, cover. You can use these buildings, you can use those boulders, you can use those hills out at the back as well. But how will perhaps SAF or Freedom Rumble get themselves out of this sticky situation? Clearly, Oren has not completed his loots yet. He can't even heal himself back up. Finally backs away, finds a bandage, goes and patches himself. McRory keeping an eye on them from afar. Those snipes I just have no eyes on. So these will have to fall into a CQC. Oh, Apam does have one on him though.
Yeah, exactly. But then we're going to be probably seeing a pinch as 3 members right now. Saf is going to be right beside them. It's always going to be McRory right now for the assist. But then we're taking a look at another team. It's going to be Auto Knockout going up against another team. It's going to be MTX. MTX has been a little bit okay. They've been a little bit so-so. And Metrics just really needs to pull up all of those points. They need to go in there just because they have the upper hand of actually going in there for the high ground. And it's up to Auto Knockout to be able to respond.
And it's in here. We've got 12 teams still alive and kicking. Very early on, MTX, they've got the vantage point in here. They can look down and snuff out all of the rest of the players. Oren pulling out that time turner in the nick of time to make sure SAF does not go in for the knockdown. And they will be able to survive for a more well put together fight. The sticky situation that they are caught in here, the disadvantage in a position like this is they will have to face off against any nades that come flying in. One sticking in the background, goes in for the pop. No takedowns just yet. Freedom Rumble keeping quite a great group, and the same being pulled off by SAF. They don't want to hold on to just one of those compounds. They break away into 2 different houses, and Let's Go is the guy for the backup. We'll switch on over to Auto Knockout, where Rosso as well is taken on the ground. Now will be able to pull out the time turner, but Auto Knockout taken out by Metrics.
That is so surprising. This turnaround is probably one of the most surprising things I've ever seen in this competition so far. But the Metrics, just as they eliminate Auto Knockout, gets eliminated themselves. That is so unfortunate to see. But speaking of something unfortunate, I don't even know who did that, AJ, but you know what? We gotta pull it up next time in the highlights who actually was able to get rid of Metrics.
I looked away from my PC like for 1 second and then Metrics died. How is that even possible? Freedom Rumble jumping right back in here to the action between themselves as well as SAF. And now Daymoon will hold just the wall between himself as a player from Freedom Rumble. Going in for the push. 4-bits hanging back together with Let's Go. They want to be the flankman who manages to get, or who at least manages to catch the rest of the players from Freedom Rumble off guard. Apam needs to be really careful now. If Daymoon gets the peek on him, the angle that he will be able to go in for the shot will be perfect, but Drax makes sure that he pays a high price for it. Let's Go going in for a very risky pickup, managing to get his team member right back up. Drax not taking full advantage of the situation.
Let's Go with the absolute confidence and the audacity to heal his teammate right in front of him. But then Drags just potatoes the shot, doesn't really go in there for the aggression. And this is why you need to be aggressive against a team like Saf, because they pull up game plays like that. Drags yet again, really missing that opportunity already to get rid of 4-bits. And this is not going to be looking good right now for the side of Freedom Rumble, just because they're just missing a lot of opportunities.
Case in point as to why you have to pick your drop zones a little bit better, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You cannot afford early gunfights like this. The loots aren't crazy. Apam and Orin now held so low. They have to still continue this battle. They can't back away to continue looting. 4-bits now going to be putting on a lot of pressure on their end. Now Drax should be able to take a CQC, go in for the drop. Daymoon seems to be really low on that HP. The same situation that Freedom Rumble faces seems to be one that SAF has to kind of tank on their own as well. 4-bits managing to bring out those long-range engagement weapons for himself, and McRory, the sniper from afar. Let's Go finally gets taken down and onto the ground, but no capitalization on this situation coming through at all. The delete just isn't there. Now Glue Wall finally gets pulled up, well placed by Drax, and Daymoon is off away.
Freedom Rumble is actually going to be able to get a lot of those kills already. Let's Go goes down, and it seems like that staff is having such a hard time. I think it's because they were engaging, even though they didn't really have a lot of that loot already. They can't even heal up because they don't have all of that, you know, guns that they needed. They don't even have the supply for them to go and heal up as well. So that's just unfortunate that the fact that they are going to be lacking in their utilities and still engaging in the gunfight. So that's actually very surprising for me, is going in there for the aggression and Freedom. They're doing such a good job at applying that pressure.
Yeah, may I just point out that was one of the most perfect usages of the glue wall, not for a defensive push, but for an offensive one, to make sure the players of SAF don't jump on through that window and go in for that heal, go in for that revive. They managed to go in and take one player out of the equation, and now the side of SAF, they are going to still suffer. McRory taken down, and it looks like out of nowhere, 4 X-Men Expert wants to third party that fight, but we have to focus on Team Fastkill. Ali once again eliminated. Umbrella Reborn. Are they going to get kicked back out into that lobby and be forced to reborn yet again? Earlier it was auto knockout, and now FSK. This is what I am talking about. Team Fastkill MY with the consistent. They take such early fights and they just can't get on to that final circle. Beef, if they continue like this, I'm going to give up on them.
We should not give up on them just because of the talent that they had in that last matchup, but then Kalahari is a different beast of its own, and Umbrella seems to be like they're finally picking up. They've been struggling the past few rounds, but finally, really just having big kills to their name really early on is going to be so important for them. But speaking of an important matchup, XBR need to come up with the points. They need to go in for the kill, because so far, they've only been in the middle of the pack. Not only that, but maybe even at the very end. So, you know, XBR already having that 2 kills, just chilling over here. They know very well that they want all of those teams to just battle each other out early game so they can finally get placement points and hopefully get a booyah.
Fastkill MY, I mean, they're not bringing in the consistency that I want to see from match number 1. They are bringing in the consistency from FFMC, and that's not the good kind, right? The kind of consistency that they brought in from FFMC was being able to take crazy good games, even picking up the booyah for themselves, so aggressive, but just not able to survive in for that final zone play. You miss out on a lot of those placement points, and no matter how aggressive you are, like what they had earlier on, right? I believe 0 kills, but let's imagine even if they were able to take one team out, that's 4 kills under the belt. Fine. You take another squad out, that's 8 kills under the belt. You're still going to be quite far away from the big dogs like SAF and all. Granted, it is just the top 12 that we are looking for, but each and every single one of those spots carries a different value in terms of those USD, even in the group stages, Beef.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about the money as well. Yeah, you're going to be having a lot of that. And it's also the fact that you can go to your friends that you won this tournament just because of the hours and the days and the hardships, the tears that they had to go through from each of these teams. But then speaking of a team that has been struggling just a little bit, but I think they're in a really good spot. This is actually going to be good. Refinery has always been that platform that you want to get just because of the verticality of this place. You have eyes on every single one of these mountains. Not only that, they have a really high percentage that the final circle is actually going to be hitting it. We saw that a while ago, and right now they're at a really great spot.
I like how Limit is playing this. They've got the vantage point with them, and they're not going in for the aggressive pushes. And Views will be able to play this for quite a while. And if they are lucky, Almighty just comes stringing in. They should be able to take some long-range shots and punish the side of Almighty. But Views, just like so many before them, have to understand that holding on to the top platforms of Refinery will get really risky if this is one of the final zones, because the blue zone will really punish you if you don't start moving early on.
Absolutely. And then you don't want to be gatekept by that. Not only are you going to be getting damage from the zone, but then you're also going to be getting damage of the teams that's just waiting for you on the outside. And Almighty seems to be like they just want a third party the house down, and they're going to be party poopers, as it's going to be Umbrella versus Blacklist. And it just seems to be like Umbrella is going to be having a very hard time. And speaking of a hard time, Umbrella Reborn is going to be eliminated.
Yeah, and Balore taking the snipe from up top. AMT thinks that they are going to be playing third party, but they fail to realize that Views has got the vantage point, and it's going to be so easy for them to punish the players of Almighty. And on top of picking up the fight with Almighty, now Views can just wish and bank on the fact that Blacklist International will get tempted with free kills, free pickup on those kill points, because when Blacklist International steps into third party this situation, then Views has got two to pick a fight with.
That is not a really great spot to be in. Blacklist International needs to go and regroup and finally maybe just go in for the rotation at the very right side of the map, because Almighty and Wheels are going to be having a really good vantage point for them to take them out. But then XBR still a little bit more passively, really just going along outside of the circle. But then it's going to be very good for them just because no one's going to be greeting them. Blacklist International is just going to be there at the very side, being a little bit too busy just because like it's going to be Almighty right in their sight lines.
Yeah, Blacklist International has always been great with their positioning when it comes to Kalahari, and at the very moment they are in the zone, so not much pressure, except with the fact that Views is keeping a close eye on them. If they make one wrong move, it's going to be all over, and now XB are in the situation as well. One gets taken down, Phoenix in here with the snipe, but there's no delete coming through just yet. One gets picked right back up, and that's not a waste, but there's just no capitalization on that.
Absolutely, there's no capitalization on I can't even speak that one just because of how interesting that gameplay was. The capitalization on that one was so important, but then they were actually spread out too thin. They were like one house per game, and Spade is going to be having a lot of big kills. Eliminated by just one person. Spade is absolutely crazy.
My theory is now confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the kryptonite of SAF as well. Let's just say they are the kryptonite to the Filipinos. 4 X-Men expert. They barrel roll all the way from FFMC into the MCP Major Season 2 to prove a huge point. It's not about the big names. It's all about the hustle and effort. Blacklist International, right in front of Almighty. They haven't been able to make the cut, or at least show us any sort of those old supremacy as Baby Argon ever since they got picked up by Blacklist International. But that's not going to be too much of an issue, because the organization that has picked them up is one of the best in Southeast Asia. And what these boys need is a lot of guidance. And hopefully they will be able to step it up competition after competition, Beef.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right about that franchise. Blacklist International is definitely going to be one of those franchises that has been being very well known, and not only here in Free Fire, but in other titles as well. So there's a reason why they were chosen, and it's because they're so talented already. Their movement is going to be very amazing, top tier, truly. But then Ren's going to be applying that pressure. I'm not quite sure it's going to be the smartest, though, just because they've already given away their position.
Oh, Spade now picking up vantage point for himself. If he manages to just get up onto the roof, number one, he'll expose himself. But number two, he should be able to get a good angle onto Jay-Z. Jay-Z now going in for the shots against Jabat. They need to be really careful. The longer they play in here, that zone is going to be able to put on quite a bit of pressure. For X-Men Expert, they need to close this gap. They need to eliminate Almighty and get into the next zone, Beef.
The next zone is not going to be easy. You can see here, there's so many teams already on the outskirts, but then they're slowly pushing in. Wheels is going to be at the very outside, but then Shira is going to be able to actually get the kill, but Jay-Z is going to be having a very hard time. Is probably going to die just because of how far away he is, and that is a trade-off that you are going to be paying for. But then 4X Men, you're going to be having a hard time. Almighty's actually applying that pressure, but then with just 2 people left in Almighty, that might be a little bit hard to do.
Yeah, Views is still holding on to that site. Remember what I said earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Views needs to know when to move. If they leave this for that final moment, if they allow the blue zone to dictate exactly when they go in for that pressure push, Views is going to get snuffed out, and it's just going to be 4 X-Men Expert taking this fight up against Almighty. And now, Limit chipping in to take Spade out of the equation. 4 X-Men Expert in a very, very tough spot. 5 more teams surviving, 18 more players. Let's see exactly what breaks down. The zone has started moving, Beef. It's all about a game of survival now.
This is such a good vantage point right now for the side of Wheels. They have eyes on every single one of these teams, and they are going to be able to utilize that. But then the zone is going to be closing in. They need to move, but then it's going to be so hard just because everyone else is going to be, it's a little bit too late. They waited there, but then PXG is going to be right there knocking in their door.
Oh, Barba with a very risky play, moving right through his vehicle, almost getting taken down. Insanity down on the ground. Thanks to Emba Lore as well as a well-placed nade. Ramiel now going in for the flurry of nades thrown on in. PXG not able to get those kills. Views will have limit dropped onto the ground. And is he going to be brought right back into the game? No. The blue zone takes care of him. The nade flies through as well. PXG still alive and kicking. Manflank gets taken down by Goku. Nade supremacy there as well. Views not out of this competition just yet. 4 X-Men expert waiting to take this fight against them from across the field. They go in for the shots. Now Blacklist International, almighty Views, they stand before 4 X-Men expert and their second booyah of today.
That is just so hard to see, and Wills already had so much of an advantage, but then just one person is going to be left. No! PXG Radicals is going to be eliminated just like that, and Wills as well. It's the Goblin Wolves are going to be out here, and just like that, Almighty is going to be taken out as well. It's basically going to be 4 X-Men up against another team, but no! 4 X-Men is eliminated! Blacklist International. We already called it. We already knew from the beginning that they were going to absolutely crush it here, and it's going to be their first booyah.
Blacklist International, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's all about the survival. It's all about how you move in towards the next zone. And they've always been so good at playing Kalahari. Ajem, Clanks, Manflank, Phoenix, Cobra. They are the best to represent the Blacklist International brand at Free Fire. Let's see if or not this is just a one-time or we will see more from them within the day itself.
Well, Kalahari is going to be the name of the game. Danny asked us, which teams do you think is going to be coming out on top? Basically, it's going to be Blacklist International or SAF. SAF went out so early. It was kind of disappointing, but then Blacklist did not disappoint at all. We basically saw them running and gunning, and not only that, the strategies are so key. And even though they actually went up against so much strong teams, it doesn't really matter. They just came out on top in Kalahari.
Absolutely. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's bring right back in our host for the day, Danny, as well as Holler. Welcome back, guys.
Thanks, guys. God, that ending was so funny. I just sat there. I swear, I was just clapping my hands like a seal. Just.
Yeah,
what could you say, Danny? What do you think of SAF's early exit from this lobby?
It was a little shocking, but to be fair, it was 4 X-Men that eliminated them, right? The team just looked so beautiful, so crisp when they eliminated SAF. And SAF, I think they were quite shocked as well because no one has been able to take them out in such a dominating fashion. So SAF, bit of a wake-up call, but I think they do need to be aware that once they play teams in Group C, they can't just go on autopilot. Because it really felt like in A versus B, SAF, autopilot, whatever they do works. Group C, that doesn't fly anymore.
Yeah, Holler, 4 X-Men expert, man. We saw them move in. They didn't have the zone. They didn't have a compound. All they had was just the wide open ground with so many teams right in front of them. Did you expect them to be one of the last teams in the final zone?
Look, to be honest, nobody expected this team, right? I think going in, we just kind of had our own favorites. We had our own little dog in the race, so to speak. But I mean, 4X, they've shown up, right? They're able to hit their shots, eliminated SAF early, like you said, and I mean, they just completely dominated. But I think, so one of the other teams from Season 1, if we're looking at Fast Kill, right? What happened to these guys? They fell off the map. They were eliminated first. Like, this is a travesty, right? We did not expect that out of this. And Beef, what are your thoughts on at least that team?
Yeah,
Fastkill, Kalahari's just not their map. There are just teams that are going to be weaker either in Bermuda or in Kalahari. And it's usually the teams that are good in both that we really like to see, really just placing high enough and also getting a lot of kills. I feel like that's been Blacklist International already so far, just because of they've been doing a good job at Bermuda, not really quite good, but then good enough for them to get points. And in Kalahari, they're just popping off. And for Fastkill, they didn't really do well. It's absolutely, disappointing to see them go down so fast compared to their really amazing gameplay in Bermuda.
Yeah, but this is just, history repeating itself, right? And Pascal MY, they really need to put this in check, because if they allow this to happen yet again, which I don't think they do, right? They learn their lesson, they fix it, and then they get complacent yet again. Every single time they win, they immediately follow it up with a loss. And I think I know why, but they need to figure it out for themselves, Ola.
Hang on, wait. You said you know why, okay? What do you know that we supposedly don't?
overconfidence. You do not overstep. Regardless of how you took the win, this is Battle Royale. RNG gods are the ones who control the game. You don't control anything. You just cross your fingers and you hope for the best and you play positioning really, really well. And that's exactly how Blacklist International wins almost all of their Kalahari fights, right? It's all about knowing how to go and where you should be at the right point of times. Let's take a quick look at the highlights once again. Maybe we'll break down a little bit of these key moments we happened to miss in the match early on, guys.
I mean, Shark here just kind of, that knock right there, that was actually devastating for that team. Fast kill, just not really able to get anything going, just completely eliminated, and you're kind of out that early. I mean, you don't give your team a chance to win at all.
SAF, and they got taken out. No CQC, yeah, those were all long-range shots, and I don't think even SAF saw that coming.
No, I really don't think they did. I think there's something else that we didn't really talk about when it comes to Kalahari, and it's the fact that Kalahari, compared to Bermuda and Purgatory, there's not a lot of places where you can actually hide. It's a very flat map. You can see everybody. There's no foliage. There's hardly any trees. So it really comes down to the way that you decide to move your character. It's the jumping, it's the running, and it's also the glue walls that you put down. Like, basically the only thing controlling your positioning is you.
And look at the standings now, right? 4X-Men, yeah, they got second place. They didn't get the booyah, but with 9 kills, they're still at the top right there. 4X-Men, they're showing up, and they're showing up and they're making a storm, right? People are going to have to respect this team.
Yeah, I think that's something that everyone's just going to have to consider at this point. So even though you're placing high, if you get enough kills, it just offsets your placement points. Because we could definitely see in that match, Blacklist, they were not gunning for kills. They were gunning for that late game. Because as much as this map is one of their best maps, the team itself, to even place this high, they had to play very patiently, very slowly, because they wanted to make sure that their best players made it to the late game, which was Cobra and Manflank. If they don't have both of those players in the late game, most of the times they don't really have a chance at getting their booyah.
Is Cobra really the main player though? Because I think in
It's
recent
both of
times,
them.
Manflank has really replaced the efficacy that Cobra has in the game, because he's the guy who mainly sets up those long-range snipes, which we haven't really seen a lot in the recent matches.
So the way I see Blacklist International is that the roles for Manflank and Cobra are vastly different. So the firepower is Manflank. That guy can shoot. He is deadly. What Cobra does is that, I don't know how he does it, he places freaking good glue walls. He knows how to block the enemy. He knows how to stop their rushes, and that's how he creates openings for Manflank to finish off the targets. So having these two together in the late game, you have your defense and you have your offense.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Now, do we have any predictions as to how this day is going to continue? Actually, you know what? Let's leave that for later, because we are going to be taking a well-deserved break shortly, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How about you guys let us know in the comment section whether or not the teams that you are in here supporting is meeting the mark, or are they falling short, right? Because not a lot of them are bringing in the type of consistency that 4X-Men Expert seems to be showing. Anyone can go right after me.
What?
Are we going for a break? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's call for a break. We'll be right back.
3 days to go.
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 There is 3 more days.
Armato Tindin, are you ready?
¿Estás listo?
Adakah anda sudah bersedia?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for it?
Are you ready? 你准备好了吗？
هل أنتم جاهزون يا أساطير لعيد ميلاد فري فاير الرابع؟
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
3 days to go.
Are you ready?
Quay nào em ơi! Booyah!
absolutely bombed and taken out by MS25. That's 2 down for AB Sligers, and their aggression has not really paid off, as now they will get overwhelmed by the members of Freedom Rumble. Your boy was going to be the third one on chopping block. Comstas get down as Apav will take Red Panda down. Your boy was the last man alive, and it seems like Freedom Rumble will be forfeited for sure. Shaw's trying to help out, but this is going to run into 3 different crosses.
Run, my
That is
boy.
not good for Shaw. They're going to try and gun them down. In fact, they will. Shaw's is down, MS25 picks him up, and now MS25 pushes on forward. XL with the third one, and Shot will be eliminated. Catch up to Geek Fam. Can they do it? They got one down. Calls at the window. They're rushing in. They're gonna take out Comp. Dress goes for a rotation, but he takes himself out. Comp down. This is it. AKO. Not gonna make it. International. They haven't seen him yet, but now they.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the MCP Majors Season 2 Day 1. It is Danielle and Paula, your host for today, and we've just finished up Groups A versus B and B versus C. So we are now down to our final round of the day, which is going to be Group C versus A. And from what we've seen so far, Paula, teams in Group B, they're done for today. They're going to sit back, they're going to relax. But what could we potentially see in A versus C from the knowledge that we currently have?
Group C is strong, right? 4 X-Men, they're proving to be quite, a formidable opponent right now. They're definitely tops right now, a team to watch out for, and with a lot of momentum on their side, right? Group A, on the other hand, they didn't do so well in the first 2 matches. So this is going to be one of those ones where they are going to just kind of, they had some time to think about it, and now they're going to be back. Hopefully they've been warmed up and they're good to go, and they're going to be very strong, hopefully in this next 2 matches here.
Yeah. So just to remind people, the teams that are not going to be playing, or at least have finished their matches today, is AKO, Cannot X-Brain, Freedom Rumble, Umbrella Reborn, Supreme Assault Forces, and PGX Radical. So these guys are going to sit out. They're done for today. They'll be playing again tomorrow. Whereas Group A versus C, I'm not sure about you, Horla. Do you feel, this is my opinion, you can feel free to disagree. I feel Group A is the weakest group so far. What do you think?
I think that, yeah. And I think the results of today have shown that as well. I think that, Do Easy Bloody had both of these teams who I thought were, kind of strong going in, and maybe one of the other qualifiers like Argon MY, I was expecting something out of them as well, but we haven't really seen them show up, right? And so when you're kind of put in those situations where you've only had 2 matches and, this is a pro league, this is the top of the region, right? So the quality of play is very different. Teams need to adjust. And we're seeing that, in Group C, a 4 X-Men expert, those guys have really stepped it up. Fast Kill has actually fallen off the map a bit. So a lot of the teams are kind of trying to, it's been difficult, right? A difficult day 1 for some of the teams, but it is a learning one. And we have 11 more days after today, so hopefully those teams can pick it up.
Yeah, plenty of opportunities to learn, as we are now going to take a look at the overall standings for today's matches. Now, keep in mind, there are some teams that are going to be really far ahead in terms of points, but we need to remember that the teams with a lot of points are likely going to be from Group B, because these guys, they played all 4 games today, whereas teams from Group A and C, they've only played 2. So we're going to be seeing a major shift in points after this next round, but Hola, looking at the points so far, do you feel that SAF is going to be able to keep their first place?
I don't know about that. I think that, right now they've had a good day 1, right? It's all about consistency in this league, right? So as long as you're, you're in, top 5, I think you're fine, right? I'm looking at the teams that are on the bottom. Metrics, Umbrella Reborn, Do Easy, Enigma X, Bloody Head, Argon MI. These are teams looking up. They really need to make a move. They cannot be stuck at the bottom. They need to ensure that, hey, whatever points that they can get, any sort of kills, maybe some sort of change in game style, in gameplay and all that, it's just, they need to do something. Because the top teams, it's all about getting into the grand finals, right? And to do that, you got to get in the top 12.
I think in the case of Bloody Heads, I'm not sure if it's luck or if it's the places that they choose to drop, but we just always seem to see Bloody Head getting eliminated early because they find another team. They've never had a match where they get to just do their own thing. Do you feel like for Bloody Heads it might just be a case of RNG, or is this just free fire?
I mean, it's a battle royale. There's always going to be luck in play in terms of just getting maybe third party, just eliminated early, not finding the right loot, all that kind of stuff, right? So it kind of affects your play. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and just say that they were unlucky on day one. But again, there are more games to come. This is one of those things where, hey, we need to figure out what we're doing wrong. We need to check the replay, make sure that we're making the right decisions, going when we can. But they need to change up something because whatever they're doing right now is not working.
Yeah, it really doesn't seem like it's working at all. So we're going to be jumping into our first map in just a moment for Groups A versus C. Looking at the teams, who do you feel is going to do really well on Bermuda?
I mean, 4X-Men. Group C is going to be strong. I'm done talking about them, right? I think that I've hyped up that train quite a bit, but it's just amazing to see a qualifier team just completely dominate the way that they have so far. I mean, yeah, they've only played 2 matches or whatever. They've been very, very strong. And again, tactical, TI, I think that they should be okay, hopefully. Bloody Head need to step up, do easy. I'm looking at those guys. They need to really, step up with Group A, right? Group A looks terrible right now, and they need to start winning out some matches.
Well, let's see if Do Easy can do something as we throw it over to our casters for our final game of Bermuda for today. It's going to be AJ and Beef. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Holler, as well as Danny. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Beef and I are right back in here, and it's going to be quite exciting. Danny kind of asked a question earlier on, Beef, whether or not SAF can maintain their #1 spot. It looks like it's going to be quite difficult, right? Because 4X-Men Expert, they are on a roll, and if they are right, if Danny as well as Holler, they are on the point with, Group A being the feeding ones or the feeders in this competition, 4X-Men Expert, they are going to have the time of their lives in the next 2 matches.
Well, I feel like, they did such a great job a while ago, but in Bermuda, they were this close to losing it to Fast Kill. So I feel like it may not be as a dominating start. It's just like that one was a pure luck. That was absolutely just pure luck because the circle was closing and the glue wall was just like basically blocking Fast Kills, by basically blocking Shark. So again, it's anyone's ball game, but Almighty seems to be like they're very solid in Bermuda as well, but hopefully they really get to pull through. 4X-Men, they're not going to be able to definitely give that away so easily though, but let's see what happens.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm looking for, and Holler got it on point, right? Consistency is key when we drop into Battle Royales, and that's exactly how we see how good a certain squad is. You've got the RNG gods consistently throwing, random stuff at you, with the beginning from the flight path. You don't really know exactly where your opponents are going to land. You might share the same drop zone. A lot of things are not in your control. The blue zone and where it starts off, where it moves towards, is not under your control. The best things that are under your control is your mechanical capability of taking this gun fights, as well as always being aware of your position within those games, especially when we go into Kalahari. But this is not match number 2, this is match number 1 between A as well as C. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's see exactly what happens at Bermuda as we kick this off, Beef.
And we're finally kicking it off here. A and C finally get to see each other already. And the last 2 rounds are definitely going to be so spicy. Just because of how dominating Group C has been already. 2 teams already from Group C has won the last 2 matches. If it's going to be the same story here, it's going to be, going to be interesting because Group A, like what our host said, they're a little bit on the weaker side. So hopefully that doesn't really pull through here against Group C because, you know what, Group B seemed to be like they were the bigger squad, but no, it's going to be that Group C.
Yeah, at the very moment, 4X-Men Expert, they drop into Observatory and they're going to be all fine in there, not disturbed by any of the other squads. Enigmax, they have to be a little careful. MTX with the exact same situation here. Do Easy dropping in the exact same zone as them. Mill seems to be a little crowded and Do Easy barely has any of those loots on them. Jembel needs to pick a gun up for himself. Manchai, he will be able to put on so much of pressure and the backstab can be pulled off as well by the team members of MTX.
MTX gonna be having a really good time just because they know when to back away. They're just using the slope to their advantage. And Do Easy needs to go in there for the aggression if they really want to pursue this gunfight. And it's gonna be very difficult as Sha is going to be having a lot of damage already, but not even being able to get that health up. But then, speaking of another team that has been struggling, Bloody Heads yet again is just struggling every single time. Kryfu is gonna be taken out. Morgana needs some help. Mark and ZJ needs to pull through, but they won't be able to do so. But Morgana finally, yes, that was a really good start, but then they need to go in there just because Fast Kill is not going to be letting them out.
Yeah, bloody heads. Can someone give them an infraction or something so they start stepping up? these guys have got so much of problem. You know, when we were in the season 1 of the MCP majors, there was one team that just kept throwing off all of the big squads whenever they shared a drop zone with them, right? And that was bloody heads. They were such a game changer, but only towards the ending of that competition. Now, hopefully, they will be able to find a little bit of that stride. I mean, over at the FFPO, they didn't do too shabbily now, did they? They got the 3rd spot out of all 18 in there. I mean, if you could do that, I'm very sure you will be able to pull off better plays at the MCP Major Season 2. Bayet's getting taken down. MTX will be able to run away to safety for the time being, but they have to be careful. Bermuda's way open, and Do Easy might be able to turn around and punish them.
I mean, I like what you said. I want to kind of just dwell on that. Bloody Heads always does well at the very end of the matchup, late game, right?
Yeah.
But no, that doesn't really happen just because they keep getting eliminated early on. They just need to really just choose their gunfights wisely, knowing very well that they
Late in
do
the
at the very end. But then, exactly, they need to read the room, and it keeps happening to them twice in a row already, and it might even happen to them now.
Yeah, it's Team Fastkill, and if anything, Team Fastkill's good at eliminating teams early on in the match. Going by their consistency, they've lost the previous one, so they should be doing quite all right because they've checked themselves.
Yeah, and checking themselves is going to be very important, but then Metrics is going to be another team that needs to check around the corners, and they weren't even able to go in for a lot of those kills. I feel like they were just going around, and that was a really good passive play, but the team that really wanted to get those kills definitely was Metrics, but it was just too much for them. They weren't able to go in for the assault, but then it's going to be really good for them just because it's going to be XBR, again, for a really, really good passive play.
Yeah, Z Squad now dropping in. Let's see what they'll be able to pull off against Argon MY. Right in front of them, Pyro's going to be stepping up, and it's a CQC. The time turn is being pulled out. Time 64 steps right into trouble. Blade gets dropped as well. Lavitz as well as Monarch. Can they respond? Monarch, what a play! Gets a double for himself. Spark as well as me out of the game. Argon MY have been eliminated.
Argon yet again going down so early, and they're already at the bottom of the pack. They just can't seem to catch up to everyone else in this team. Yes, you know what, in this tournament, it is going to be the best of the best, but you are here for a reason. Argon just absolutely is having a very hard time, and I don't blame them. Everyone else in this competition is just so talented already. Zeth is going to be having those big kills, so that's a really great start for them.
I'm not sure how Argon MY got caught out at Factory, right? I mean, you step into Factory, the first thing you'll think of is using those vantage points. You go up the stairs, and it's always easier to look down than it is to look up. You get those headshots a little bit easier as well, but it's just the terrain not being played at all. Hangar, the whole of Factory was just overcome by all of those players, and Argon MY make that early exit. Let's see if or not we will be able to see similar sort of fights, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, onto that field. Cape Town has been dominated by the side of Blacklist International, and they will be able to move on towards Kota Tua a little bit later on, with the possibility of coming across Fastkill as well as Almighty early in this competition.
They're just going to be staying there in Cape Town. They are going to be taking some shots, though, and it's going to be important for them to really go and pull through. But then, a lot of these teams have been outside of the circle. They still need to make their way in, which is going to be impressive, just because you see a lot of these teams are still alive. Usually, by this point, we already see like around 2 or 3 already out, but then it's going to be good. Bloody Heads is holding on, which I liked seeing, so they're doing a good job at being a little bit more passive. Maybe they're listening to us right now, right, AJ?
I hope so, right? Because Bloody Heads, they bring in a lot of promise into the competition, and I want to see them step up from the get-go, man. I mean, when everything is against them, when they've got their backs up against the wall, they truly do shine. Now, beautiful ITX shots coming in for Do Easy as they get eliminated. Once again, do not bring the vehicle out into the open. You get that little sucker exploded, and you're stuck. You are a sitting duck, and all the other teams need to do is just fire off a couple of bullets towards you, and there's no way you're going to be able to survive. Yes, glue walls can help, but this is such an open terrain. A vehicle's such a bad idea.
Yeah, the vehicle's gonna be so bad, and Do Easy just did not have a good time. They don't have the utilizations of any of their utilities. The guns, the gunfights, even the mobility is not there either. But then another team seems to be like they want to be part of the mix. Metrics is going to be up against ITX, but then it's gonna be not that easy just because, oh, I think they're going, yep, they're gonna be going away. They don't want to engage in that gunfight.
Enigma X right in front as well. So ITX needs to be a little patient as they go in with this push. Nade going to be tossed in by Zapnu. Now they have to be careful because if the side of Enigma X pulls in a couple of snipes, it's going to be quite detrimental. But Enigma X, they don't really look like they are in a position to take any aggressive fights at all. In that watchtower is one place where you do not want to be. If the approach comes in from ITX, a couple of nades in there, bye-bye, game over for those two players.
Yeah, it's going to be such a hard position to be in just because you're just stuck there. You can't get out, and ITX already knows there's two people over there. All they need to do is actually push as a team, and just one grenade will do so much damage already. And it just seems like Zapno is going to be able to do that.
Look at him, man, using the terrain, using the leaves on the tree to block any of those shots that will come through. I mean, the shots are going to go through, but if you've got no line of sight, it's going to be very, very difficult to make sure the pressure from ITX stops. And now EMX with Slumber 2 firing off all of those shots towards Strix. Is he going to be able to get it down here? The tree not pulling in much help at all. Time Turner gets brought out. Enigmax still alive and kicking. But Losum now getting his health knocked down. Wall get kicked onto the ground. Black goes down as well. Slumber as well as V2. Both of them alive in this watchtower, but not for long, beef. Like I said, if the approach comes in from ITX, 2 nades is all it's gonna take, and Enigmax, they do not have a position here.
Absolutely on point, hit the nail right in the coffin, and with just that, 2 members left for EMX. It's not going to be easy just because ITX is going to be right around the corner across them. They need to move, and they're going to be sandwiched real quick, and they can actually go out there if they did push in just literally right now. But then Trix is going to be taking a lot of that damage, but then is going to be able to go in for the heal, for the pickup. But then Slumber is going to be taken out. Really great play. That was a really good sniper.
Yeah, absolutely. And now they have... This is just game over, right? The best case scenario for Enigmax right now is to perhaps take 1 man down together with them. And 2 men down is just a little too hopeful. Our MTX, 4X-Men Expert. Now they go in for the slice. Maru as well as Jabat. They go in. Xbot 77 on the ground. But Rin OP will be able to perhaps stay alive a little bit longer and maybe bring in something different later on. Manchai as well as Rin alive and kicking from the watchtower. They've got vantage point, but 4X-Men Expert will be able to catch them off if they can bring in a couple of nades. Enigmax in for a similar situation towards the right of MTX.
So it's just like a response, and it's just really unfortunate that 4X-Men is just right there to get rid of MTX. Well, Metrix is going to be having such a hard time just because they're stuck. They basically did what ITX did a while ago, and ITX is just chilling right now. They're basically getting the same medicine that was brought to them a while ago.
Yeah, let's see what will 4X-Men Expert be able to do. 1 player running at the back there, and that's still from 4X-Men Expert. MTX will not be able to take any shots whatsoever because look at the double snipe setup there from Goku as well as Jabat. I'm not so sure as to where they are looking, so it'll be quite cool to see their perspective. Manchai having an eye on the factory to make sure nobody comes in here for the push. Bloody Heads right behind them. This is going to turn out into all-out chaos shortly with 4X-Men Expert having so much to feed on.
They need to be quiet just because there's just 2 people left. The passive play needs to ensue and just play for placement points and really just play for the vultures. But then speaking of Wheels, it's going to be going down. Embelor is going to be the only person left for his team. Everyone else needs to be gone for the pickup, but then it's going to be so hard just because there's so much pressure already coming in from beside there. But then Embelor, big kills already, but no, Zep Squad is going to be eliminated, and Embelor does the job at being the MVP for his team.
Oh, wow, what a play, man. Embalore in the house, goes in for the pickup onto Limit as well. Not only does he win that gunfight against the squad solo, he brings his team members back from the brink of death as well. Now, 4X-Men Expert trying to take the fight up against Bloody Heads. Remember what I said, these are just kills falling all around the map. Easy pickings for 4X-Men Expert, and they have got the bigger compound. They have got the prime position, and Bloody Heads will fall into a very, very, very tough spot if they don't start moving right now. Similar stuff can be said for X-Men Expert as well. They cannot take advantage of the zone beef.
Yeah, they're just chilling over there. They know that there's going to be teams that are going to be no, but then Batman and She-Ra is going to be going down. Phoenix is going to be going in with that God nade. They just know when to throw that grenade so well, getting 3 kills already. Blacklist International is going to be looking so prime.
Oh, almighty snuffed out. They do not look mighty at all in front of Blacklist International. Phoenix with the 3 kills so far. Cobra in with 1. They go in for the push, but for the time being, they just need to stay put. Danger zone out there. And no other teams are in or around them, so they can perhaps just take a chill pill for a bit. All of the action is going to be focused in and around Team Fastkill as well as Bloody Heads.
That was so impressive to see. I mean, we already know that Blacklist International is going to be that good, and the grenade play is just absolutely chef's kiss. But you know, I want to talk about what happened a while ago to Wills. Embalor did everything all by himself, and I already said it in the beginning that Embalor is going to be that one guy to pull through and to really clutch everything up. I've seen it before, especially in those final moments where you need to go in for that clutch. He can definitely perform.
Yeah, GG to the blue zone. It's gonna be dragging everyone out into the open. Now, the best case scenario here is you want to hold on to the position that Views has because it's elevated, and if you can find that vantage point for yourself and have that bird's eye view onto all of the other teams that try to squeeze in towards that safe zone, you should be all right. The usage of the foliage in and around you will help out as well because the tree does block quite a bit of those gunshots. Not against those nades though.
I feel like having the cover that you need, especially in an open circle like this, is to have a car. Is to just have a vehicle to be beside you. You need to explode it though, but that's going to be a really good source of cover if it does worse comes to worse. So Wills is going to be having a good time. They're already in the circle pretty earlier on, so that's going to be a really good sign. Just because that position is going to be absolutely key. When everyone else is going to be rushing inside, they are going to be situated right in front of them, but then Yoon is going to be taking some shots. It's going to be so important for them to go and kill him.
Oh, Mark gets taken down. Yoon in here for the stab, and he manages to go in for the kill. Monito now taken down. Shark will be on point. Morgana from the back goes in for the delete onto Monito as well. Bloody Heads, they are holding on strong here, and this is how you play Factory. You get up onto that second floor. You buy yourself a little bit of extra time. Vantage point in here. Morgana cooking up that nade. Let's see if or not this Chef's Kiss will drop in there as well, but the 3-on-1 situation will put Morgana out of the equation.
It's the numbers advantage, and sadly Morgana just couldn't pull through all by himself. And Morgana's usually the one that can clutch it up, but then sadly not in this case. One person is going to be left for Bloody Heads, and I feel like they just need to run for the hills, quite literally, just because the circle is going to be closing in on them.
Uh-oh. And now Ali taking all of those shots. Pulls in the glue wall right in front of himself for the backup, and a couple of shots coming in from his left-hand side as well. I'm not so sure as to how that's going to cover all of his angles, but ITX will be able to bring on the pressure onto 4X-Men Expert in the meantime. Goku now has only the boulder in front of him. Shad going in for those snipes. Nade after nade getting tossed towards Goku. 4X-Men Expert not in the best of positions right now, but look at how they've flanked all around the circle. They are going in for a tremendous booyah, but it's a very risky play.
Phoenix yet again. Look at the minimap and look at the kill feed. It's all Phoenix with the grenades. This guy is so formidable with this grenade, just getting so many kills already. Now that is going to be so scary, but it's going to be good for them just because it's going to be a very open map, a very open space, and you can see that they're going to be situated right on top. Now that is going to be a vantage point that they can really use to get rid of every single one that's trying to come up on the hill.
Yeah, unless the zone starts moving and they have to start moving downhill, because then it's just gonna make them little running ducks, which are quite oversized. Very, very easy to take down on the battlefield. Beautiful time turner pulled out by Shad here just to survive. 71 on his HP, tops his health right back up. The zone is moving, so these teams do not have much time in here. ITX still in with a full squad. 5 kills in the bag so far. Catches Spade off guard, who pulls out the glue wall. Now cooks the nade up, goes in for a toss. Is Spade gonna get the kill? Out of the zone, he gets knocked down, and the delete will come through as well. Whether it's from a team or the blue zone, we will see beef.
No, that's gonna be so hard. We see Enigmax is already going to be eliminated. 5 teams left here. ITX looking so strong, but then they need to find their foundation. They need to position themselves well to be able to fight off Blacklist. And Blacklist is just chilling right on top of the hill. And this is going to be quite literally that fight climbing on top. And I feel like Blacklist International, they are set up to be king of the hill.
Yeah, look at this. 4X expert out of the equation already. Blacklist International, they're making their way in towards the next zone. Throughout the whole time, they have managed to come into this part of the map. They have maintained their vantage point. They stick around to the edge of the zone, but they always want to make sure the bird's eye view is with them and with nobody else. And that has been one winning reason for the side of Blacklist International. Now Views with 5 kills in the bag so far, all from Mbalore, might I add, looking to take down Blacklist International, who have got the better position. And they will have to come in for the push because Views can stay put.
It's going to be a 3-team battle. It's going to be ITX, Wills, and Blacklist International. Still, full squads for ITX and also for the side of Blacklist, and Wills just needs to chill out and let them do their thing. And that's what's happening. They're letting both of these teams just battle it out, and they're going to be going in for the scraps.
Yeah, absolutely, man. ITX now with Shooks as well as Zapnu. Are they going to go in for the pickup, or are they just going to go in for those gunfights? Because now all that is left here is Zapnu. Man flank gets taken down as well from the side of Blacklist International. Views getting it done really well with the help of ITX Zapnu from the back. And these snipes will be able to put in a few more extra pointers for the side of Views. Mbalore now will have to step up to the plate yet again. Nade flying through from the side of Blacklist International. Cobra goes in for a knockdown. Mbalore takes Cobra out of the equation, and right now he can't pick Limit up. Mbalore is all alone. Aoki is back on his feet, and now Phoenix all alone in front of him. Zapnu eliminated by the side of Blacklist International. Phoenix with those shots. It's a 2-on-1 situation. Views for the win here, or will Blacklist International find it? Phoenix eliminated. Views finally get it done.
Wills was absolutely crazy, and we called it in the very beginning. The way they actually positioned themselves so early on already was so good, and Mbalore with the MVP absolutely deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. No idea where the little puppy is from, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but we do apologize for that. Limit Lay, Mbalore, Mormon, Alforte, as well as Aoki stepping it up. But you know, consistency is key, Beef, and if you cannot keep it up, you don't. I mean, these wins, these booyahs don't really matter that much. So we want to see if or not Views can pull off a similar sort of a position maybe at the end of this day, right? Because match number 6 will come back through. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's bring right back on our awesome host, Danalee, as well as Holla.
Oh, thanks, guys. Wow. What a game, Holo.
Yeah, and Woos and Blacklist, top 2, right? We saw that, we knew that there were going to be very strong teams going in, and seeing them duel at the very, very end, that's exactly what we expected. So very nice to see them in the action. Very hot and heavy. Awesome game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, 4X Expert, they tried their best, but they went in for a strategy which, for the life of me, I cannot figure out how they thought would be effective. They split up in Battle Royale. The worst thing that you can do is split up. You are down in numbers, and the numbers game always wins.
Yeah, maybe it's just
sure.
so early. Maybe it's because it's so early in the season they decided, okay, we did well in our first round, let's just try something funky now, and if it doesn't work, then just go back to the usual strats after this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
now,
but
Beef, you know, through that match... Yeah, sorry, Holla. Through that match, right, I didn't really expect Views to perhaps perform in the way that they did. They might be a team that I counted off a little bit too early, right? But it was really, really cool as to how they took that final fight. And positioning was everything. Was it luck, guys, or was that planned, right? Because I wasn't really looking at the map. I was paying so much of attention to Blacklist International. Did any of you manage to catch that, Beef?
Well, yeah, I was able to call it in the early match already. They positioned themselves so well, and it was not just that. The fact that they had to wait for ITX and Blacklist International to battle each other out, they were just there on the side. They were going in there for the picks and eventually getting so many big kills already, eventually getting that first booyah is so impressive to me. They're adaptable. They showed very well how they can adapt to the times and whatever happened there. Not only that, great positioning already in the first half and that adaptability and their were able to get those picks at the very end.
Yeah, agreed, man. Hollis, sorry, man, you're about to say something.
No. I just agreed with that, and I think that WoW's really stepped it up. Right, positioning is very key. I think the numbers, just making sure that you have, sheer mass. In terms of bullets, utility, all of that stuff, making sure that you're in the right position at the right time. Wu's positioning was really on point in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blacklist International will be looking for a potential Booyah coming up in Kalahari. That is their map. And Danny, you've already pointed out so many times as to how really, really good and how much they like Kalahari, right? Based on their performance back in Season 1 all the way through in here as well. They've been doing quite well, even at Bermuda with the game of survival. It's just that, at the end they got caught out there.
Yeah, I think in the case of Bermuda, I kind of want to say it's also a little bit of luck. But then when you're coming into a final circle like that and you have 3 teams going at each other, it's tough, right? Because everyone's shooting at each other. If 2 teams are focusing 1 team down, sure, then it's much easier because you get that 1 versus 1 team situation, but that wasn't quite the case. Highlights are actually ready, so we'll jump into that very quickly. But if anything, I don't want to count Blacklist out, and I think we may have underlooked Wheels because we could be looking at a bit of a power dynamic with the groups now, right? So what if Wheels is counted out by SAF, right? So they get counted by SAF, SAF gets counted out by 4 men, but then Blacklist gets counted out by Wheels in this group, right? Because we're starting to see these playstyles come out. Yeah.
Consistency. We need to see more from Views, right? I mean, so far it has not been very impressive at the previous MCP majors or at the FFPO. Views were all right.
That was such a good grenade.
But Views has been all right? And this is their opportunity to step it right back up. And I feel like they're positioning throughout that final circle.
I love this bit. This was our first roadkill. Sorry.
No problem. I understand that excitement, right? Views held their position so well, and it was a little bit of bad luck on the side of Blacklist International as well. Because initially they were maintaining top position, and then things just turned around so fast. All of a sudden, Blacklist International were in between Views as well as ITX.
Yeah, that was the case. And I think what Wheels did, which was fantastic, was they completely walled off Blacklist so that they couldn't jump onto Wheels at all. And Wheels just decided, okay, this is an opening. Let's kill ITX because ITX is on the low ground. And I think at the end of the day, you guys would have seen it. One big fat grenade deleted ITX.
I mean, that's pretty much all it takes, right? Just a nice grenade there, just to cook it up, and you're doing that. But look at Woos, right? Blacklist International, both of those teams, top 2 right there with points. Booyah, Woos got it, but Blacklist, man, really turned it up. Those 10 kills are pretty crazy if you think about it.
Yeah. Fast kill MY, consistency. This time they kind of do a little bit better than the previous match. They are consistent in doing good, and then doing bad, and then doing all right again. I think they're going to get kicked out early next round.
Oh my goodness. Actually, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the standings. So this is the second last game of the day. We've got one more coming up next, okay? So Blacklist are looking to be in a really good position to actually get first place at the end of today. What are the chances that they steal SAF spot? Do you think they're going to botch this last map? Because sometimes that happens, right? You have such a good first day, and then you just absolutely screw it up in that final game. Do you think Blacklist could do it?
I mean, it's Kalahari, guys. I'll take this one. Yeah, it's Kalahari at the end of the day. Blacklist International has shown us time and time again, even if they cannot get the Booyah, they always position themselves really well, and the placement points are always in the bag. Final zone, a couple of extra kills, unless the luck on Blacklist International is just so bad, and they get into a gunfight early on with a big squad like 4X-Men Expert, and then they get third-partied out of that situation. Then no. If that does not happen, high probability that Blacklist International will be moving up, but we cannot count out 4X-Men Expert as well. They've been quite consistent by placing up in the top 5.
It's nice to see top 2 teams like that. in 4X-Men and Blacklist International. Both those teams in the same group. They're going to see a lot more of each other. But just going into those games, I think that you're going to see, like, I'm very impressed by Blacklist, right? We knew that they were going to be strong going in, and they just stepped up, and it's been nothing but the best for them. So I hope that they end up pulling it out, because I think they've earned it.
Yeah, let's pull in a quick round of predictions. Beef, you first. Who do you think might be primed to pick the Booyah up in the next round?
Okay, I don't want to be predictable and mention the name of everyone's heads. You're basically thinking about that one team, right? But I really want 4X-Men to win this. Kalahari is going to be such a difficult map, and we already know that Blacklist International is good all across the board with whatever map that they're going to be going through. I want that competition for them. So 4X-Men seem to be like they are the competition to beat.
Perfect. Danny, your call?
I mean, I've been on the Blacklist train. I mean, should I change at the station? I don't know.
It's absolutely up to you. I mean, you can continue betting on them because they are definitely worth betting on.
Actually, I do have two teams. As much as I have my faith in Blacklist in this next matchup, I feel that after seeing how Wills did on Bermuda, I think they also have a really good chance at getting the next Booyah. So I'm gonna put it into two. I think Blacklist will be my number one option. Wills is number two.
That's a really, a strong support that Views is getting in here just after one performance. Holler, how about you, man?
I mean, look, 4X-Men, you said it, Woos, Blacklist, you guys all said that. So I don't want to be predictable and just go on with those trains. I'm going to go with Tactical Intex. I want to be somewhat different. I love the underdog story, and I think that this team is still pretty good. There's a lot of untapped potential, and we've seen part of it, so I'm going to go with them for this one.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, ITX has been quite impressive, quite similar to Metrics as well. Let's take a look and see exactly what breaks down in this final matchup. Danny as well as Holler, thank you so much. We'll catch up with you guys in a bit. This is the final match of the day, Beef. Kalahari between Group A as well as C. Let's see exactly who manages to pick that Booyah up.
Let's see who's finally going to be getting that final Booyah in Calamari. And yes, it's going to be as good and as tasty as the squid rings itself. I'm so sorry, but I'm so hungry already.
I was drinking water, man. Dude, I was actually going to say, thank you for reminding me about calamari, by the way. Because when Holler said calamari and Danny said that, he's got some weird friends, I was thinking I can be one of those weird friends. Because the first time I started casting for Free Fire, I had to actively tell myself, do not ever say calamari on stream or you will face a pure embarrassment for the rest of your life. I am not kidding, because when I was trying to practice to shoutcast these matches, I just kept saying calamari again and again and again, Beef.
You're welcome, and you're probably going to keep doing that now, so sorry about that, not sorry. But anyway, let's take a look at the action that's already been happening. 48 people still left here, still 12 teams, which is not going to be surprising, but who is going to be dropping into Refinery is what I'm looking at, and it just seems to be like no one actually wants to do that except for this one team, and it's going to be so hard, because DE, they've been doing a little bit so-so. Do Easy definitely has been doing not good, but they need to win their gunfights.
Uh-oh. This is what I'm talking about. The consistency. Views dropping a man so early on, and they are already at a handicap, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. One of the first players to lose their lives are from the team that picked the Booyah up in the previous matchup. Do Easy, perhaps facing a similar situation, with Shah just exposing himself onto the platform here. Let's see if or not ITX will be able to get this fight, even though they don't really have the vantage point on them.
Yeah, and I want to touch up on what you said with Wills. It's like the consistency is key. They don't do well in Kalahari. Like, basing from their past games in the past tournaments, they don't have good statistics there. Like, out of every single map that they play, it's always Kalahari that's going to be the lowest. They only have 3.75 average kills in this map. So we've already seen it. They don't know how to play Kalahari. So that gives a way to so many more teams that can do well here. And that will definitely be, obviously, Blacklist International and also 4X-Men experts. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to be able to actually counter these two strong teams, but it is going to be still a little bit early into the game, and ITX seems to be like they're on fire.
Yeah, it's okay to have, maps where you are extra good at, but it's never okay to have maps where you consistently fail to meet the mark, right? And when that keeps happening to you, if you're a pro squad, you need to go back to the drawing board and you need to figure out exactly what's going on here. Now, Views with the opportunity to perhaps impress us, to shut us up, to take down Blacklist International and prove that even though they are one man down, they should still be able to hold their own. MTX Manchai now with the shots towards Prioro will be able to perhaps take him down with a well-placed nade. Cooks it up in his hands first, goes in for the toss, but it was quite badly placed. Shafiq should be able to close in this gap now. Glue walls will be needed, and the nade is cooked up in the back. Manchai goes in for the approach, but it's all sealed up for the side of Puro. Manchai finally comes in for the approach, pulls out the time turner, gets the knockdown, but overextends himself for Sparks to knock him down.
Trade after trade, and that was such a bad push. They should have just thrown a nade, and MTX is going to be paying for that. But Manchai is going to be going in for the pickup. But then I feel like that duo that we saw a while ago, Shafiq and Manchai, should have just thrown double grenades on Manchai again, going down.
Why would you run and shoot him when you can play with your nades, right? I mean, he already trapped himself in that glue wall. It was the perfect opportunities to get those perfect nade kills, right? And now it's going to be Sparks going in for those shots. Shafiq, Manchai as well. Xbot 77 is taking the backstab, and he might just be able to pull this off. Views, on the other hand, suffering quite the heavy defeat in the hands of Blacklist International, and they might just be the first team to get eliminated here.
Ooh, Blacklist International seems to be like they're going to be such an amazing team. Really going in for the storm start. But then, MTX needs to figure out how they're actually going to be able to get away from this gunfight. It's not going to be easy. And Argon, they've been not doing so well. They're going to be at the bottom of the pack, but that doesn't really matter. That added pressure into MTX, that was so impressive. And now they're going to be going away. That's very impressive. But then I feel like they have the upper hand of actually engaging in this fight. So I'm not quite sure if that's the best thing to do. They just really want to play it safe. But sometimes being too safe is not going to be good for you.
Absolutely. I mean, Zeth Blade kind of found that out in the very, very hard way. He was playing it safe, but he played it safe at the edge of this platform, fell to his death and got the side. Who's the one going up against them? Not so sure exactly who. I managed to catch the name and totally forgot exactly which squad put in the final bullet. They took it that advantage and punished Blade for his fall, right? They go in straight back-to-back for those delete. It's going to be 5:20 on the timer now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. A lot of slow action in here. But the same is not going to be when we reach that third or fourth zone beef.
The third and fourth zone, that's going to be the bloodiest that you can actually pull through. And having one person down is not going to be easy. So they need to play it smart. And yes, it's still possible to actually pull through the zone with just 3 people. But you're going to be going up against a full squad, Blacklist International, and also, ITX as well. They've been doing so well here so far. A really great start. 4X-Men as well. It's something like a team that you need to look out for. And so far, I think they need to go and push through. Everyone that's going to be in Refinery, they have the upper hand just because they have that verticality. They have those platforms that they can just take a look and just really have that vantage point. But if it's not going to be in their favor, which I think it won't be, it might close in into a different map, which I'm really interested to see.
Almighty now needs to start moving on in towards Bayfront, but let's see how luck will play out there, because if they move in a little bit too early, they'll meet Blacklist International, and that fight's not going to end up too well for the side of Almighty. We've seen how a encounter like that ends up in. Me picks up the katana for himself, and the side of Argon MY, they will be able to perhaps stay alive and kicking for the time being. Puro getting taken down earlier on in that botched up fight. But let's see how they recover from this. Views has got one player right in front of them. Maybe Argon MY can go in and end the role of Views in this round.
And even though that Metrics had not, that lower ground, they didn't have the advantage, Argon still lost a person. So that's going to be interesting going into that, knowing very well that they're going to be meeting Wills in just a little bit. But hopefully we get to see better gunfights ensuing from both of these teams. They're going in there so passively, they're going to get a little bit of damage coming into that circle, but it doesn't really matter. But then they are going to be able to go out, traject themselves into the sky, and hopefully get to see a really nice spot.
Yeah, launches himself into the air. Now Sparks looks like he's going to be all in the clear. Very, very risky maneuver because you never know exactly where you might come in and fall. Me getting taken out from the back. Embalore. I knew they should have paid a little bit of attention to him and put him out of this match. But instead, Embalore is able to punish them from afar. And now goes in for the delete as well.
The timing was just so bad just because the last play of Argon, like mid-air, just like saw his teammate go down, and that was basically it. They can't go in for the pickup just because they're so far already, and the timing was just absolutely key. And Embalor did such a great job with the timing, knowing very well that they can't go in for the heal just because they're so far away already. But then it's going to be another team. Shark has been that essential player, fast kill, and they've been wanting to have that vengeance just because they were just so close to having that booyah.
Do Easy now getting stuck in a fight with Blacklist International. They've got the vantage point, and Blacklist International will be able to take advantage of this fight if the blue zone comes in for a little bit of pressure as well, because Do Easy technically doesn't need to give up any of the space that they have. Blacklist International trying to get up as well so that they can have equal footing, equal grounds to take a couple of these shots. Let's see exactly how they are able to pull that off.
Blacklist International is going to be a little bit more passive.
Wow.
They're going to be going to the outskirts right now. I know, that was actually a really good call. Just because they know the upper hand is going to be in the side of Do Easy. So they're going to back away. They're going to be going to another spot where they can maybe get more kills apart from Do Easy. They're basically just saying, you know what? We're not going to take on this fight, but we'll see you later on.
Yeah, it's going to be a good move coming in from Blacklist International, and they will be able to survive in most probably play that final zone, right? Once again, Kalahari, usually the playground of Blacklist International. They know exactly how to move to get into the next zone and make sure they stay safe. As long as you've got the vantage point, as long as you've got that vertical advantage over any and all of the other squads, you should be in the clear. Almighty, not having the best of days in the MCP majors, are they?
Yeah, indeed. They're having a terrible time. And usually Kalahari is actually very impressive for them. They once had one booyah here with 12 kills already. So they just need to pull up. And it's going to be hard just because you are going up against such talented teams already that know this map at the back of their hands so well. And you want Bloody Heads. I'm surprised that they're actually doing okay. They're not doing anything. All 12 teams are actually still alive. So this is a very slow game.
Don't curse my team, man. Come on, Bloody Heads. Y'all can step it up. Sitting down in the 17th position so far, my boys are crying. Morgana in for the backup, but I don't think this is going to fare well because they take the fight up against 4X-Men Expert. And 4X-Men Expert, along with Bloody Heads, neither side is going to be pressured by the zone. So it's all about those vantage points. Spade will be able to take a couple of pot shots against Morgana as well as Cryfu. Look at that. Look at Manflank go in here for the pressure as well. Blacklist International, they've managed to get that vantage point and keep it up against Do Easy. They've turned things around with those IQ plays, Beef.
What did Do Easy just do? Why do you do that, Do Easy? Why? You have the upper hand of being into, having that verticality, and then you just wanted to go below. There's a reason why that this team is probably, not having a good time here, just because they're having very questionable plays, and Cobra is going to be overextending himself, getting that kill, getting probably another one, and this is the confidence that we like to see. Blacklist International already knows that, okay, we can rush into here, we can get a lot of these loots, and just give up the position that we have, just even bring one person down to just finish the job.
We were just saying Almighty's having a crappy day. They are out there kicking 4X-Men Experts' butts. Can we take a quick look at that matchup? Because Do Easy's just done for, man. Blacklist International is not going to fall here. I'm curious to see exactly what's happening to 4X-Men Expert.
Yeah, they're having like a very hard time. Bloody Heads might be able to actually take advantage of that because they were at the crosshair. They were in between. And it's just so sad for 4X-Men that they were in between Almighty and Bloody Heads. So it was basically third-party action, but it's not going to be easy for them to really pull through. Still, 12 teams left. This is a very slow game. And there are going to be a lot of teams that only have like 1 or 2 members left. So I really want to see which teams there are.
This is the final one in here for Fast Kill MY to pick up a couple of extra points for themselves. They currently sit in the 8th position. If they can maybe pick a Booyah up with around 8 to 10 kills for themselves, they can bump up right into maybe the top 5, potentially. I mean, it's always been available for them, but consistency has been a huge problem for this card. Yoon will be able to go in for the knock onto Zafnu, goes in for the delete right after as well. Fast Kill looking for those kills. Wait, did they do well or did they die earlier?
Oh, Fast Kill? Right now, they're doing so well. I mean,
No, earlier.
Though. Oh, earlier. I wasn't able to actually see. We mostly had our eyes set.
4th spot.
Oh, in the 4th spot, yeah.
Yeah,
They did well earlier on, yes. But
Oh, Lord.
it just seems to be like
Someone
Kalahari
protected
is
them.
going to be... Oh, look! 4 X-Men! What?
That was a final nade by Batman. Production, I wanted to see that fight. Why didn't I not see the 4X-Men expert dying, man? What is going on? Team Fast Kill still going in for the push onto ITX. Trix is going to be in trouble. Yoon will be able to get the vantage point advantage here. And it just looks like as the zone continues to close in 10 teams alive, Argon MY makes their exit. And now this is Fast Kill all for the feed. They have got so many teams around them for the picking beef.
And it's going to be very hard because just like that, they need to worry about left, right, and also maybe even above. And it's going to be a tricky spot, even though they are going to be in that upper hand because they have the high ground. It's still going to be very hard just because everyone else knows that you're up there. And Almighty, they've been doing such a great job getting rid of probably one of the best teams that we have already. It just seems like their fall from grace is going to be eliminated. What? Will's already with the elimination. Now, this is just so surprising for me for the teams that are going down so earlier on.
Oh, man flank now getting taken out. FSK, Ali on point, and now Z Squad eliminated from this competition as well. Earlier when we had a peek, it was Team Fast Kill with the best opportunity of all. And dude, they got the 4th position earlier. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that was their bad performance and they managed to pull in the Booyah this time around. Jay-Z with yet another Kobe nade flying through the air, goes in for a delete. Almighty is on a different sort of fire in this final round.
I'm not surprised that they're doing so well just because I know they can win Kalahari because they've done so before in such a dominating fashion. And this little egg that we have for a final circle looks to be like it's about to go and crack and have a little chicklet. And hopefully we get to have a Booyah. Tactical Index is going to be eliminated. 6 squads here left in the mix.
Oh, bloody heads. Manchai goes in for that push, but ZJ slices him down with a backup from Mark as well. And now Bot 77 together with Shafiq will be sneaking behind those glue walls, making sure they don't get taken down early. Blacklist International with the movement right behind as well. ZJ a little bit too overexcited. Morgana, the final player in here. Is she going to go in for the pickup or will Mark be saved? Mark does not get saved. Blacklist International goes down. This is just all out chaos in here. Morgana eliminated. Bloody heads make their exit as well. MTX now. Can AMT continue this absolute crazy rampage? Yes, they do go in for the slice onto Klags and 7 and Shafiq right in front. Shira should be able to take this fight 2-on-1. Shira gets taken down. Very bad onto the flex from that corner. But, well, the numbers game will always win those fights, Beef.
Almighty was in a tricky spot. They need to go out of the zone, but then they're going to be taking a lot of this damage. Whoever is going to be on top of this exciting egg, is going to win it. But then Almighty is going to be trapped right below, so they might not even able to win this. It's going to be EMX as well, who is actually going to be able to get a chance. But then here we go. Finally, we see AMT. Almighty is going to be going up there and maybe getting those kills.
Oh, FSK all the way through. Come on. Going in here for the push on that Booyah. Eric Max right in front of them. Ali goes in for the backstab. Black is there as well to come in for the response. Ali 200 HP. Nobody's touching this guy yet. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Team Fast Kill MY gets the Booyah and they step it up. There's consistency finally. And maybe MCP Majors will be the spot where they finally shine. Monito, Yoon, Hadma, Ali, as well as Shark. Team Fast Kill MY breaking a little bit of their old record here, Beef.
Yeah, finally fast kill with a booyah, and they deserved it. They absolutely did. After that upset that we got here in our Bermuda map, they finally pulled through in Kalahari. They're basically saying, you know what? We don't care. We are gonna win this in such amazing fashion. Even in the beginning of this round, they've been doing so well, and we thought that Almighty was gonna be that squad, but no. The RNG gods just didn't get them. They just didn't get what they wanted. They were trapped at the very underside of that hill. They needed to go and climb up, but then they were already there. Fastkill was positioned and primed.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't get what they want, but you guys definitely get what you guys want. Our awesome hosts, Danley as well as Holler. Let's bring them right back in here. Welcome back, guys. Team
Well,
Fastkill, man. They made sure they did not follow the regular, consistent up and down trajectory that they are always on. Holler, were you expecting that, my man?
No, of course not. I mean, what we saw from Fastkill was just nothing but inconsistency, right? Match 3, they were eliminated first, and all of a sudden, match 6, they get the booyah. This is like a Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know what to think of this team. Like, we thought they were good, but hey, it's about consistency in league play. You need to make sure that you're there, and so being as like the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows, I don't know where to put you, man.
Yeah, exactly, and Danley, Blacklist International, your team didn't really make the cut this time round.
No, they didn't. And I feel like a lot of it came down to their positioning, because in their previous matches, when Blacklist International take their games, or at least when they place high, it's always when they're in a favorable position. In this case, they were on the low ground with everyone else. It was so easy to pick them off. They had nowhere to hide, because remember, Kalahari, it's a desert, it's barren, you've got no cover. So they got taken out. If anything, I feel the worst for Almighty, because they had all 4 team members ready to go into that final circle, but it was just too late. They were stuck on the low ground. They had no way to make it up there, and they just melted. They had no chance at all. Like, imagine what we could have seen if the team was able to find a way up onto that high ground.
Yeah, it's a little upsetting that we didn't get to see the fight between Almighty as well as 4X-Men Expert. A majority of those kills came purely from those Kobe nades, and Batman was definitely on point. And I do agree with you, Danny. They did so well for themselves, Almighty, finally stepping it up, but not being able to pull the booyah up for, you know, the reasons of luck. You know, they've played against their luck this time around, right after we call them out in that match beef.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, it's upsetting to see 4X-Men just go down so easily, and Almighty just did such a great job. And sadly, we weren't really able to see that, but luckily enough, we saw the kill feed, and that was enough for us. Almighty seemed to be like they just set themselves up for disappointment, especially not going in for that early rotation, going into that final circle, and it's just amazing to see. Finally, different teams getting different booyahs.
Finally.
and to think that, you know, 4X-Men Expert, are they the only one with a double booyah from the day?
Yes.
Were they?
I think so.
I think they
right.
were, right?
The only team that get double booyahs.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, because I thought this was the match that SAF was going to get kicked down. And, you know, and we saw Group C being the ultimate kryptonite for Group B. But I don't think that's exactly what happened in here. The opportunity was wasted by a lot of these guys who are aiming for that #1 spot, guys.
Right, so I'm going to ask everybody to do a little bit of a guess, because I did do some math. Now, the closest team to potentially take that spot was Blacklist International. I want you guys to guess how many points they needed to take over SAF.
Blacklist around 30, right? 30-ish, 31, 32.
Take into account they already played their previous match. So how many points would they have needed to score in this round?
20-ish then.
So 20?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna go about 12. I don't think it was that
12?
Well, I can't do math, so I'm just gonna guess. 15.
15. All right, so if they were going to tie, they needed 13 points. If they were going to take first place, they needed 14 points. So the thing is,
It was pretty close.
So depending on what they scored just now in this round, we might see a new leaderboard leader.
We just might, right? We most I hope we do, and not to take anything away from SAF, because that's just going to make things a little bit more crazier as we go into day number 2, right? We don't want to see one team step up there and dominate the board all the way through. We've kind of had that in the past, and it's not really fun to witness nor shoutcast.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, we had it in the past. For anyone that tuned into season 1, if anyone remembers No Escape, that was a crazy journey. Hey, you were there, no, AJ?
I was, which is the main reason why I kind of wrongfully counted out Views from the running, and I'm sorry, Views, I did not think they would be able to pick the Booyah up on day number 1. But they kind of proved me a little bit right with some of my statements, because there was just no consistency. They get the Booyah and out they go early in that round.
Yeah. Why do you feel like it's the inconsistency? I mean, anyone can answer this. Like, why does anyone feel that Woos doesn't have this consistency for their games? Is it because they have to have a certain player? Is it a play style? Like, what's going on?
It's a very let's say Embelor usually is going to be that top fragger. So we've been seeing it. Embelor has been doing so many plays, and that's the reason why Wheels is just so inconsistent. Just because if Embelor doesn't pop off, it means they're going to be having a very tough time into winning. Yes, they get a lot of booyahs, but also they fall so hard down from Grace, and it really depends on that one player.
I cannot agree with you more, but I want to add on a little bit more as well. It's not just about Embelori just going in and performing, because the guy has been doing that really, really well. The rest of his team members really need to step up as well, Beef.
Yes.
So as a team, though, if you're kind of creating your own team, do you want that feast or famine type of player, right? Who you could just like ride with, the hot or cold? I mean, you're going to be really affected, right? And you don't have that consistency.
Yeah, and it's all about exactly how they I mean, I think, Holler, you had that on, you hit the nail right on the head at the start of the day. It's all about how you adapt to the different teams, and this is the first time they're going in with this group. So I guess day number 1 is still very much experimentational for most of these squads, right? For example, 4X-Men Expert at the Free Fire Malaysian Championship, whatever we see from them today was not how they started off the competition. They ramped it up later on once they got a little bit more confident, and it's really nice to see them do that early on. But it's going to similarly fall into a phase like that for a lot of these teams.
All right, guys, so we do have the round standings here, and Blacks International, they score 11 points. Oh, they just need a little bit more. Just a bit.
Yeah.
I love how everyone's just speechless. Wow.
Yeah.
2 points away, right?
Fast kill. Yeah, picking up that number 1 spot. 9 kills in total, 21 points. And that's going to bump them up quite a bit. I don't know if it's enough to grab the top 5 spots, but I think it might just be. But Blacklist International, although they didn't really hit the mark in terms of the 14 points, getting close enough to that number 1 spot should kind of, give them a little bit of peace and satisfaction. What I love seeing here up on the board is the performance for Metrics as well as Almighty. Not only do they get great placement points, but look at the number of kills, guys. 9 and 7. They are stepping it up, but a little unfortunate that that step up is only coming through at the very ending part of the day, literally at the last match.
It's
I mean,
just
they
day
finished
1
strong.
though.
Yeah, they did.
And if we're looking at it, look at last place. 4X-Men, 2 booyahs, but now they're last place. So, inconsistencies abound, so to speak.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to see. It's still very early in the league, and we have many, many games to go.
Yeah,
Many
absolutely.
games
Bloody
to go,
Head.
and
Sorry, go on, Danny.
go on.
Yeah, Bloody Head
Anything?
getting that 6th spot is quite good in comparison to where they were, in those initial matches, right? Because we started off with them in the 17th position, I believe, just before we kicked off the match number 5. So I guess they're stepping it up little by little, but absolutely nowhere close to the team that was being the one main upsetter of the MCP Majors Season 1. Bloody Heads were gunning for only the big squads. They weren't really great at pulling off those booyahs. They weren't really great in getting to that final zone. Bloody Heads were always excelling at finding someone the moment they drop into the field, and then they go in and they kill a big squad. And then later on they die off, but it's okay. They've already served their purpose. Oh, goodness me. What am I saying? Bloody Heads, right? Hopefully they serve a higher purpose this time round for their own sake instead of helping others out.
Oh, interesting statement there, AJ. Anyways, and speaking of interesting things, we've got that overall standings for day 1 for season 2, and of course we knew this was coming. Supreme Assault Forces gonna be able to keep their first place with 63 points, followed by Blacklist, who just missed out by a mere 2 points from tying first place.
Wow. I mean, are we looking at Fastkill MY just jumping up to the 3rd spot? And I really hope and pray, you guys, take my word for this, if they drop this, man, if they drop this, they're going to get a earful from me, right? They start off so strong in this initial weeks. And Fastkill MY, we need to see consistency out of them. They've proven that consistency can come through within one day itself. Hopefully, we see a little bit more of this later on. PXG Radicals shining in that first match, pulling in the booyah, but after that it was a little lackluster. 51 points in that 4th spot for X-Men Expert. Even though they were quite impressive, all they managed to stack up at the end of the day is that 5th position.
Yeah, and I think we got to take a look at some of the teams sitting in the middle of the pack, right? Freedom Rumble, I think a lot of us, we were very, very hyped when we saw how good they were looking in their first 2 matches. And then the team just, it was like they put all their energy in the first 2 matches, and then after that they either got crushed or they ran out of energy or something happened, and the team just took a massive nosedive during their second round of matches.
Yeah, they pulled a Fastkill beef.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I am really curious to see is that we have even booyahs right now. I like seeing that for every 6 rounds, it's all a different team. And this is why it's so exciting to me, just because I don't know who's going to win. One team can absolutely pop off this day, and another team can absolutely just pop off the next. So it's the best of the best. And this is honestly going to be bad for the rest of the teams that are just watching and waiting for their turn to actually go and play and do well.
Absolutely.
Hola,
So
do you
I'd
have
like to
anything
ask
you
everyone.
want to add?
Yeah, just real quick, like, which is the one team that surprised you the most today?
Oh, Views. Look at them. Look at them sit down at 7th spot right there. So sweet looking with that booyah, but unfortunately just not able to get consistency. They were impressive, man. I mean, in comparison to Season 1, in comparison to the FFPO, they sit in here great, but we need to see more of those plays. I mean, dude, they took out Blacklist International at the final zone. Crazy stuff.
What about you, Beef?
I actually expected Wills to at least have 1 booyah just because they're inconsistently consistent. It's like they can be really good one time and then just drop off at the very next. So I guess one surprising factor that for me was SAF didn't get as much wins as I thought they would.
It's the Group C, man. It's the kryptonite that we're all talking about. But which makes me more curious for day number 2, because if this pans out just the exact same way, where SAF is able to pick those booyahs up or get to the top 3 in those first 2 matches, and then when they go A versus C, they fail yet again, we can confirm that theory, Beef.
Yeah, but of course that's going to end up being us going into day 2, which we only have information for day 1, but going into day 2, I know that's tomorrow, but I have to ask everybody, who do you feel like is going to pick up tomorrow after we have some knowledge of the competition in the groups?
That's a tough one. Holla, do you have anything to throw into this one, man? I mean, based on what you guys saw in here, because it will be a little biased from me since I've seen these teams perform from the past MCP majors, and I'm comparing them to all of their past performances. For you, fresh eyes here, Holler, does anyone like grab your attention straight up?
4 X-Men. I think that this is a team that nobody really expected. They came out of the qualifiers. Nobody really knows what to expect. They're a dark horse team. So this is one of those times where, hey, they're still in the running. They had a great first day. How do they proceed? How do they get better, right? This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. They need to make sure that they're in that. Let's see if their mind is in the game as well.
Absolutely. Speaking of sprinting, can you guys sprint on towards your game and key in these codes? Because each and every single person gets to claim 2 of these boxes. And just like Danny has mentioned already, you have a time bar on it. The moment the stream ends, you will no longer be able to claim it. So if you want to get it done right now. Make sure you take a screenshot as well, because there's quite a number and there's no way I can remember that.
No, I'm very sure someone in the chat might help. You know, there's always those people that help copy paste for everybody. Okay, thank you to everyone in the chat that helps everyone out.
Be that guy.
Make sure you grab that code, guys. Beef, who do you think is going to have a second wind tomorrow?
Well, there's so many things to consider here, and I feel like Saf, I'm not going to be biased, but I've seen them already. I've seen all of these teams, and they've been probably one of the most consistent teams that have been consistently doing well. Not only do they place high, even though if they don't get a booyah, they get a lot of kills too. So it's for all 4 maps that they actually played. So it's going to be interesting how they play tomorrow, knowing very well that they have that pressure into being the top and staying there.
Is it my turn next? I bet AJ's gonna be like, let's do Danny next.
No, we don't have to do Danny if we don't want to do Danny, right? I mean, the performance, all of the action in here has been crazy today. Unexpected stuff from day number 1. I mean, super shocked that there was no consistency from any of the teams in order to pick the booyah up. Technically, 4X-Men Expert were the ones who jumped up to that number 1 spot, but without the booyah, right? They only managed to do that in the second game purely with kills. So I absolutely echo what you said earlier on Holland. Tomorrow, my eyes will be on the boys to see if or not they can get it done once again. And Team Fastkill as well. Consistency is key. Whether or not they will be able to bring that in tomorrow, we all need to see. I rhymed again, accidentally. I hit that on the head.
Alright, I'm going to quickly wrap up my thoughts. I feel like tomorrow is going to be Do Easy's day. They had a really bad day 1, but I think it's a team that picks up... What?
Sorry, Do Easy, but you gotta do better than that, alright? They were doing horrible today, Danny. They need to step it up on all fronts.
Listen, okay, I think they'll be able to do it, okay? Because we've seen them during season 1. You have to remember this as well, AJ, right? They had a terrible first half of the season, but second half of the season, up there. Fantastic team. They can do it. I feel like Do Easy, we're going to get the same thing tomorrow. They're going to have a horrible day 1, day 2, it's Do Easy's day.
All
right, so I think...
Not like last words in your life, like for the show before we wrap it
up.
I
was going to say, I'm not prepared for this. I don't know if I can do that. But I do appreciate the fact that, hey, this is, it's just day 1, MCP Season 2. It started off with a banger today. I think that we saw a lot of great play throughout. I'm just excited to see the rest of it. We have 11 more days in the league, and that's leading up to the grand final. So I'm happy to be here. I love the fact that, Mustachio, your energy, Beef, Mom, your insights, all of that, and it was a pleasure hosting next to you, Danny. So great stuff here, and looking forward to the rest of the league, which is going to go on from tomorrow at 1 p.m. Same time, same place.
Wow, I thought he was going to tell us that we're done for the whole tournament. Like, wow, what a closing statement.
Let me grab that opportunity then. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us on day 1 of the MCP Majors for Free Fire. My name's AJ. I'm the Mustachio down here with Dan Lee Holler as well as Beef Mommy. Wrapping up day 1. We'll catch you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Time to watch the MCP Major Season 2.
Let's go.
That's 2 down for AB Tigers, and their aggression has not really paid off. As now they will get down. As Alpha good for shots, they're gonna try and gun them. This is it! AKO! Not gonna be!
Oh, wow!
Chase out both! Geek Fam continues to survive. The King has returned.
Sign up now for the MCP Majors in-game qualifier.
Triple kill. Shut down. Quadruple kill. Quadruple kill.
Three days to go.
3 days to go.
3 days to go.
3 days to go.
3 days to go.
There is 3 more days.
Arma to Tindin. Are you ready?
¿Estás listo?
Adakah anda sudah bersedia?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for it? Are you ready? 你准备好了吗
هل أنتم جاهزون يا أساطير لعيد ميلاد فري فاير الرابع؟
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Tune up for the party.
Let's turn up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
Let's tune up for the party.
3 days to go.
Are you ready?
Quay nào em ơi! Booyah!
Absolutely bombed and taken up by MS-25. That's 2 down for AB Tigers, and their aggression has not really paid off, as now they will get overwhelmed by the members of Freedom Rumble. Your boy was going to be the third one on chopping block. Cops get down as Apav will take Red Panda down. Your boy was the last man alive, and it seems like Freedom Rumble will be forfeited for sure. Shaw's trying to help out, but this is going to run into 3 different crosses.
Run,
That
my
is
boy.
not good for Shaw. They're going to try and gun them down. In fact, they will. Shaw's a down. MS-25 picks
XO.
and now MS-25 pushes on forward. XO to the third one. And Shot will be eliminated. Match up to Geek Fam. Can they do it? They got one down. Cause at the window. They're rushing in. They're gonna take out Cobb. Dress goes for a rotation, but he takes himself out. Cobb's down. This is it. AKO. Not gonna be. Back International. They haven't seen it yet, but now they do. Mr. D trying to survive this one versus 2. Turns to Rock.
Oh, wow!
Taste out both the all-barrel explosion.
As well as Hazik, but we've seen this duo moving, and Dooeasy gets eliminated, and Balore goes in for the Black Cobra, and it looks like the Blacklist International are gonna be on a handicap as well. But Divinity, look at them, trapped all there in that hut, all alone.